Oh, wow. Alright, well, to be fair, I just wanted to see some Gundam action, and that's what we're getting right now. And look at it right now. You know, TKT ain't having any more time at the moment. Still doesn't have the A point, doesn't have any of the B point either. But here you go. Last second. Man. Oh, on the second game. Oh, right. Right. There you go. Oh. Oh. That was a beautiful, beautiful. What do you call it? That was a beautiful. Last second play here coming in from, of course, Mafty, making sure that, you know, last second won't be able to get in any clutch there. And look at that. The remaining time right now for last second is going to be like 0. They're not going to be able to get in any points at all. But now Mafty just needs to get 1 point for them to be able to win the first game. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, yeah, for sure. But, you know, with this and with sorry.
Oh, it looks like I'm back. It looks like I'm back. Oh no, this.
Oh
yeah, it muted me for some reason. Actually, I don't know why it muted me.
Wow.
I didn't mute myself this time.
Well, that's actually very good because, like, at the very least, you know, our community here weren't able to hear you dissing me. So
That's true.
Thank you very much for.
You know, I started off by saying like how all the technical issues were JJ's fault, but like the technical issue happened, so nobody could hear that. It's just a self-fulfilling prophecy here. But you know what? Okay, we're finally back in this. This is finally all happening. Once again, Mafty just needs to take a little bit of any of these first bomb points. They held off the entire enemy team extremely well. Last second needs to hold for such a long time. This is going to be difficult, and already we're going to see a capture on the relay here.
The waypoint. There you go. Yeah, the relay point is going to be captured here by Mafty. And again, as you have mentioned, they only need 1 point. And as it is right now, they are really trying to get in, being really aggressive. But the axe here coming in from that up, you know, the zombie is going to be hitting them down as well.
Oh yeah, and we can see this Hyperion really leading the push. It's been such a useful suit for breaking through these choke points just like this, being able to shield so much of your entire team. Right now, though, they weren't able to quite make it happen. It looks like they just did lose Profi and Arrow. The focus down on Profi was super good, and on the other side, they only lost 1 suit. So there's going to be a little bit of a retreat. Gasman playing a little bit aggressively, trying to go back towards that relay. But oh, this pick is huge.
Oh, wow, look at them. Everyone is just trying to get it in. All of them, all 6 of them, actually, just so that they could be able to, like, you know, try to get in. And now, beautiful Lumiere coming in from this, of the Hyperion, but they're not going to be able to get in. Actually, never mind, they were able to plant in that, the Mega Charge, but is Last Second going to be able to disarm them? That is the big question.
Oh, I don't know. This looks tough. They need to get somebody on it right now, and if this person dies, then it is over. Oh. But it looks like they weren't able to, and that is going to be Team Mafty taking the win in about, I want to say about 1 minute, which is a lot longer, or a lot shorter than the technical difficulties that we had. So I'm glad that we're all back. We got to see the classic Mafty gameplay, and honestly, there wasn't even much to say about that second round, right? I mean, we got to see a little bit of the first round, but the second round is just, it's the Mafty game. That's been what we've been seeing. It's just like a brick wall, and when they're on offense, they are the unstoppable force.
Yeah, right. Like, just like in any other game, if you want to really get in on a base of your opponent, you as much as possible be together with the entire team, with the entirety of the team. That's what we see. That's what we saw with Mafty. All six of them were all together going into A point, and from there now they were able to at the very least clutch it out. Getting in, planning in that mega charge, and then unfortunately for last second they weren't able to disarm it at the last second. They got stopped in. They were able to destroy the suit, and unfortunately for them, well, Mafty's got the first point.
Yeah. We've actually seen quite a few times, not only this version of Last Second, but they had a pretty different roster in the previous event number 2. And both times they had a lot of actual last second wins. So I wasn't going to I guess say that they were done, even though the situation looks so tough. But Mafty, they're not going to let them live up to their name. They're just going to continue to play their own game. And I think one thing that I want to really focus on is just how well they were able to shift suits. Like I mentioned, we had Arrow switching over to the Pale Rider. We had Ender's switching over from the Hyperion, from the Pale Rider to the Hyperion, and the flexibility is just so important. But we might see a different comp. We'll see. They've been playing a lot of different comps. We're going to be setting up for the next map. Thank you again, once again, everybody, for sticking with the technical difficulties. We're in now. We're locked in. We're going to see the rest of these matches, but we're going to take a short break first as we get into map number 2. We'll see you right after this. Game number 1 went by in a flash, but it's time for game number 2 here. Map 2 will be Flak Fort in Mafty versus Last Second. Mafty is up 1-0. It honestly was so quick that we honestly barely missed almost anything. But Flak Fort is probably going to be a little bit slower paced of a map. However, Mafty has seemed unstoppable. It's time to see if they can push through the first choke point at A and then just continue their run as we've seen them do time and time again.
Right, but again, this is a second map. Could go either way because Mafty, if Mafty wins here, then they're gonna be heading towards the grand finals where Last Chance is gonna be going down.
Yeah, and there is, of course, Team Tekka Dynasty waiting in the losers finals, who is definitely not a team to sleep on. They've done really well against, Mafty as well as pretty much anybody has before. So we'll see we'll see who gets that match, right? But right now, there's still absolutely a chance for Last Second to take this. We do see Evictus on that Hyperion once again, and we'll see if the picks here can push through this. I mean, we haven't really had a chance to see Hyperion shield. Oh my gosh, they're holding the bridge.
Not yet.
Oh, this almost never happens. We just, okay, there was just a few shots just coming out, trying to get a few maybe extra hits and build some G meter, but now it's time to push in.
Right, at the very least, Mafty is now repelled back away into the A point, and now Last Second would have the chance to get in, and look at that beautiful Barbatus right there. Going to be able to take down one, but of course, that's going to be off a trade right there.
Yeah, Gasman, getting the pick at least is huge, and just being backed up by the rest of the team. Mr. Big Large has been leading the damage by quite a bit. Ashmar's in such a good spot right now, just overall in the meta, and it looks like this push through is going to work. It only took them one push to get the entirety of Mafty off of the points. That is a great start. However, a few times here we've seen that Mafty is willing to give up this point and really try to back up so that they don't get staggered. It's time for maybe the arguably harder choke point here.
No, yeah, for sure. I'd have to commend though, Gasman actually being the one who initiated the, who initiated fight that allowed other teams to get in. And another one here coming in from Gasman, unfortunately, going to be able to miss, but never mind, going to be able to follow up with one more. But the Lumiere's not going to help down Gasman.
Oh, just really trying to get that finish, but it's great to see it actually happen. There is not many people around for the side of Mafty. Yeah, a lot of great shots here, and this Ashmore Flame is going to make it so difficult to actually get through that top choke point. And look at this one tick. They are already working on 2 ticks, almost guaranteed, and they're just staggering this entire team of Mafty. Last Second is not giving up this set despite how that last game went. 2 ticks by already.
No, that is not what they want to happen. They don't want to go home just this early. Man, game number 1 was so quick to finish, and they're not going to let that happen to game number 2. And look at that right now. They are now almost into taking in B point as well. There's going to be another one, and here comes the G maneuver, and the funnel's coming out. And look at that. Are they going to be able to finally get this one up? They still need a little bit more of those gauges coming into the B point.
Oh, they're so close. There's actually a duel a little bit here going on between Enders and Evictus, but they are just not able to find that last tick. I mean, already what they've gotten is huge. There's still 3.5 minutes left. They need one more successful push, and right now they're really like gathered together in this little choke point. We got the AoE damage from the Dom. They've got Mr. Big Large, who's potentially around, so they could get chunked if they are not careful about their positioning. Casino even popping the G maneuver a little bit early, the Screaming Nimbus, just to make sure that there's not that much of a chance to regroup here.
2 are now down into the last second, but at the very least, they still have like 3 more minutes. They still have like a lot of time to play with, but at the same time, you'd want to get this as much as possible. But look at that, the Victus is going to be taken out by the Dom here. There's going to be another one here, especially that, Victus is one of those players that has been initiating the team fight along with Gasman as well, but Gasman is going to be going down.
Oh, yeah, this is a start of a really strong hold, it seems like, from the side of Mafty. They're starting to get their picks. Their G maneuvers are just so numerous right now. They have 5 available, every one but that Screaming Nimbus. On the other side, they only have the punch from Mr. Big Large, and this is actually an interesting fight. Both teams kind of on the opposite side of the high ground here on the point, but Gasman jumping in again, making plays this game.
Now, what I can say, though, is that Last Second cannot be together, because with this turn A having availability all over that G maneuver, they can just like take him out really quickly. But look at that, here comes a grab here, and they're gonna be able to take down Carl.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. They really wanted that G maneuver to be able to defend this. Luckily, the rest of the team managed to pick it up themselves. They, just the shots of Enders, of course, one of our best, I guess you could say, hit scan DPS players that we have in the league is just going to hold it down just with shots, just straight up shots. Oh, no, Victus getting picked, Gasman getting picked. I think this has to be a full regroup on the side of Last Second, and I like this repositioning a little bit more offensively from Mafty.
Right, but at the same time, Carl here still does have the access to the G maneuver, so they still need to be wary of that. They cannot be together, but at the same time, Last Second has 3 G maneuvers up and running, ready to be popped up anytime soon.
Okay, the biggest thing here, I think, is going to be the butterfly versus the butterfly, right? Both the turn AG maneuvers. Right. I know Mr. Big Large is going to be ready to snipe it out of the sky with the Ashmar punch if we do see it coming out of Carl's second, and it is going to be a punch.
Oh, there we go.
Whoa, no, he's not close enough.
Oh,
he's not close enough, but he's going to snipe him. Oh, that was great. Okay, that wasn't the way that you wanted to get him out of the air, but it did manage to stop a lot. We've got players on point. There's only a few players left up for Mafty.
No, yeah, for sure. One of the biggest pressure right now that Last Second has, that Mafty has against Last Second is now out, and all they need to do now is just push in, but Mafty's really doing a good job into defending his point.
Oh, and Evictus getting killed out of the Lancer G maneuver. That could have been almost an entire team wipe. That could have been it, but this has to be a regroup. This is going to have to come down to a last second moment for Last Second. They've got just one more tick available. They've got one regroup available, but their resources are almost nothing. And with Casino having the Screaming Nimbus, this is going to be very difficult.
But here we go, Mafty, Anders with the Pale Rider still trying to, poke in some damage, but Gasman is going to be taken out again. And, again, Gasman is one of those initiators that they really need for them to be able to get in. And look at them, all of them are actually low on health right now. That's going to be 3 down, no, make the 4. No, Evictus going to be taken out as well. No, not quite yet, but that's going to be 3, 4 down into Last Second. 2 seconds left. And that's going to be it.
Yeah, not able to get that final tick. That initial push was so good. It was so good, but then they just lost their momentum. It came down, I think, a lot to the fact that they really wanted to win off of that first push, which makes a lot of sense, right? They were doing so well, so they used a lot of their G maneuvers, and Mafty, despite the fact that they were on the back foot, they didn't spend all of their resources. They saved it for the subsequent pushes, and so they always had some good tool to defend. Regardless, though, 3 ticks on the final point here is great, especially against a team like Mafty. Now we need to see if Mafty can actually push through themselves. And in the past, when we've seen Mafty on Fort Flak, they have taken a little bit longer to take point A than some of the other teams. They take their time with it. They don't really have that much of an option. They have to really win this map here. And of course, it's Mafty. They can do it. But this could be one of the first times that we see a good win against them from Last Second.
Right, but at the very least, Last Second, he was able to buy them a lot of time here, going to be able to get in that 94% into that of the tick off the B point. So, even if Mafty does have like, I believe 5 minutes, 6 minutes, for the first point, they, what do you call this? They still have a lot of time if ever, Mafty gets to point A.
Yeah, honestly, the fact that they didn't quite finish out is just a huge boon because they get that much extra time. Oh, I love the turn A Shining Light skin, I think it's called. But here we go. There's only about 9 seconds till we start. We can actually look at the comps a little bit. Fusion Blackie, one of the better turn A's that we've seen. Carl Sagan as well, just one of the best shots that we see. Great flex pick. But as we expected, they are going to stay pretty much the same here. Not a ton of huge changes. I'm surprised Enders isn't on that Hyperion, but maybe just feeling confident more with the classic pick of the Pale Rider. We're not going to see the peaks out onto the bridge. It's all coming out of this first push.
Right, here you go. Last Second allowing Mafty to get it in on A point and, want to get in that team fight over that area. But, Last Second here is really defending this real well. Mafty cannot find anywhere to get in.
Yeah, their positioning is very strong. Holding back on this particular little, I don't know, bridge, I guess you could call it the little high ground there. It tends to work very, very well. It seems like Fusion Black may have found somebody trying to sneak around, but yeah, Blue Jay going down. This could be the spot to push in, but Casino getting traded as well. Same thing with Devotion. This might have to be a reset.
Yeah, it's going to be 2, though. Well, they're not going to be able to, try to regroup so that they can, push in. But here you go, Focus, trying to get away, especially the Ashmore with the very huge maneuvering here. mobility rather is what I wanted to say. But Profi here trying to get in some shield and HPs again. Try to get in, try to defend this away. Try to attack last second, right?
Yeah, but gets thrown, but there's no actually full follow-up from the side of last second. Of course, especially with the nerf on the damage that throw in this previous season, you're not going to be able to as easily one-shot, especially the high-health units like a Sazabi. The flank behind from... Oh, actually, it wasn't even a flank. That was just an escape.
Wow.
My bad. That was Mr. Big Large. I saw it on Ashamar. I was just like, oh, it's probably focus. But, this is the scariest thing about Mafty. As soon as they take a point, they steal the space so well. They take space better than any other team. You can see they're already pushing through this choke point. They're just forcing the team of last second to retreat all the way to the high ground on point B, and this is already one of the most difficult spots on the map passed freely by Mafty. They've got 4 minutes left.
Yeah, Gasman actually whiffed that attack coming in with the Barbie, but look at that. That's going to be 2 down from the Ashimar with the punch. That is a one-punch man right there, and they're going to be able to get in more as well. Mafty, with only Gasman being the threat to their team right now, is now getting into the B point and going to try to get in as much as possible. They need to get only 95% for them to be able to win this game.
Oh, Gasman is going to take down Casino at least, but finally getting grabbed, getting actually killed by the grab from Carl Sagan, and then it was at least going to delay them a little bit. They've got to just hold here the G maneuver, the butterfly from Carl Sagan, and I don't think that actually killed anybody.
Right, but the pressure, though, that allowed them to, repel away last second is just huge for them. And look at that, they're going to be able to take in the third tech right now, and they're going to be able to try, last second going to be able to try to contest this, but are they going to be able to defend this away from them? I don't think so, as Mafty takes the win.
Oh, they were doing so well, but Mafty remains undefeated as expected. The defense just didn't quite go the way that last second wanted. That first push was amazing, and I'm glad that we got to see it. I'm glad that we got to see somebody really, honestly, at least for the first 75% of that first round, we got to see them kind of dominate Mafty, which has really never happened before. Anytime that Mafty has kind of almost lost, it's been like a close back and forth, and they always just win from the back foot. But that was really dominant, and then it wasn't, because Mafty, they're just so good at bringing things back. But that does mean that Mafty will earn their place as expected in their 3rd grand finals in a row in these Breakout Series events. But honestly, we just have to kind of look forward, right? The fact that we see that last second stands a chance to not only win these matches, but potentially, in a dominant fashion, means that I feel like if they go back up into the grand finals, they get a 3 out of 5 set, they have more opportunities to adapt. They could be the ones that finally at least take some wins on Mafty, if not take them out completely, but they are going to have to first fight Team Tekka Dynasty.
No, yeah, for sure. Again, as you mentioned, just to reiterate, they still have a chance to get back getting back to Mafty if they manage to defeat Team Tekka Dynasty. But again, Team Tekka Dynasty isn't just any team. They're a really good team, and I guess one of the fan favorites as well in this competition. So that is going to be a huge wall for them to get on, to defeat, or to put water on, or whatever you want to do it, or whatever you want to say on that. But again, they are quite a menace as well to fight against.
Yeah, I mean, all of these top 3 teams are incredible. I also want to give a shout out to Gasman. That is what a story, right? That Gasman yesterday, got the power supply of their computer destroyed by the Dr. Pepper via their cat. And then day 2, they actually already got a new fix set up, and they're back in play. And honestly, Gasman was making some of the big game-making plays within that set, just getting a lot of these huge picks. And it's very difficult with Barbados.
I guess that is just the buff of getting new parts for your PC. I mean, it just like having a new skin, it boosts your morale, making you play a lot better for I don't know how scientific it is, but it just makes you better.
Yeah, have you seen the PC case that's the entirely themed Gundam PC case? And I think they have a GPU that's Gundam themed. I think if you play Gundam Evolution on that, you get to 300 FPS or something. I think that's that's how you unlock the 999 FPS. You just got to have the actual Gundam computer. But again, that does set us up for our losers finals match. That is going to be Team Tekka Dynasty, that has been waiting on the losers side, going up here against Team Team Last Second. That's guaranteed to be a really, really good match. I think we're ready to go to a break here. I don't know if we can confirm from production, but we are going to have, again, that be a 2 out of 3 match. You're not going to want to miss that for sure. And also on top of that, we are going to have Jamerson back on the mic in my spot, so you're not going to have to see my ugly bug anymore. But you're not going to go anywhere, because we're going to have our top 3 match, our losers finals match, to see who's going to make it to grand finals right after this.
Lanfest is community. Lanfest builds and supports gaming communities to support charity. We have more than 25,000 attendees and 400 volunteers across 18 chapters that span 3 countries. Lanfest is charity. Charity is at the core of what Lanfest is. We've raised more than $1 million for charities nationwide. We support food banks, veterans, animals, hospitals, and so much more. Lanfest is gaming. Come join Lanfest.
All right, welcome back, guys, to the Gundam Evolution New Type League Breakout Series Event number 3. That was a pretty quick winners finals there, but now we are moving on to the lower bracket finals. Last Second has been sent down here to face off against Tekka Dynasty. I'm Jamerson, and to cover all the action for you here in the lower bracket, I've got JJ once again. JJ, let's go ahead and have a quick chat about what you thought in the first match that you got to cast today.
Well, like, just one description, just one sentence over it, is that it is very quick. That's all I can say. It was very quick. You know, like, I personally, I wasn't able to, I didn't have enough time to digest what happened, just because of how aggressive Mafty was, that they were able to, like, take in game number 1 immediately, and taking in game number 2 as well. The moment that it was their time to attack, we only had, like, what, a minute or two, and everything's done.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, with this matchup, though, here in the lower bracket, we could expect a longer match at the very least between these two teams right now, Tekka Dynasty and Last Second. It should be an extremely fun one because, again, these were the two teams that we thought coming into this tournament would have an opportunity to stand a chance up against Mafty,
Right.
but both of them were sent down by that squad.
Right, and, again, as we have mentioned, both of these teams are really good, and both of them actually would have another chance to get in on against Mafty that is currently waiting on the grand finals. So this is going to be, I guess, one of the most crucial, one of the most crucial matches that these two is going to have. Aside from the fact that if they lose here, they're going to have to say goodbye to the entire tournament. But also, having that special chance to be able to get back against Mafty is, I think that is a much bigger reward than actually, winning the entire thing. And if they do win against Mafty, of course.
Yeah, and we have to remember that once we do get to the grand finals, it is going to be a best of 5, but still down here in the lower bracket, it is a best of 3. So you have to be on your A game right now. There is no room for error whatsoever. In the past, though, in the lower bracket, we've seen some 4-map shenanigans when we have tiebreakers and everything. So we could have, just an all-out brawl, that goes all night. Right now, we are waiting on the map bans. We'll get it in just a moment. But it was kind of interesting.
Right, so here we go. The first ban is going to be a thermal plant, immediately followed by, of course, the colony trading post. But this first pick for both of these teams is something that I am not a fan of. Obviously, it's really fun to watch. As I mentioned with Chef here, it's really fun to watch, players playing in this map. But, like, playing on Harbor City is a different kind of experience. Mm-hmm. 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 Right, yeah, especially how after we saw Gasman, with the Barbie earlier, being the initiator of the team fight, being able to take in two at the very start when they were attacking, just really half down, last second into taking the A point.
I mean, for a last second, it looked like, when you're facing off against Mafty, it's really difficult, right? I don't know if you watch
Right.
any MMA. It was kind of like Anderson Silva sizing up their opponent, finding out the reach, and then all of a sudden, he gets hit on the chin. That's what Gasman did to them, set them rocking. But like any champion, they're able to kind of regroup and regain their composure. You got to see that. But I'm really surprised. I think Black Fort could have worked out for them. They're going to go ahead and take it out. And now we do have, I believe it's just kind of set in stone where it should just be 3 maps and then we're all done. So I'm really surprised about some of these map picks and bans because I think Flak Fort was going to be really strong for the last second. But what do you think about the other maps?
Man, for the other maps, Modern R&D is one of the things that I'm really one of the maps that I'm really looking forward to, especially playing on Modern R&D is actually a really good experience as well. We do have the query, I'm kind of a 50-50 on that, but I guess now that I'm casting it, now that I'm going to be looking at it over on a third person perspective, as a bird's eye view rather. I can't wait to see what kind of experience I'll be getting against watching over query.
All right, so Harbor City, Quarry, and then to finish things all off, once again, it's going to be Mountain R&D. We're going to get this match set up right now, but when we get back from our break, it's going to be Tekka Dynasty versus Last Second to see who'll move on to the grand finals right after this.
I don't wanna cry. Wanna cry.
Your goal is to capture both target locations. The mission is about to begin.
Right. For last second, at the very least, what I can see here is that, well, it's actually pretty cool because like they do have the sniper here, with Red Protocol here. Nostalgia, as I think we are. Sorry. That was TKT, Tekka Dynasty rather. Not last second. But last second though, they don't have any of they don't have a lot of long range attackers. They do have the Dom here, which is more of a mid range attacker. They do have the Pale Rider, however, just to try and to get in some damage as well. But TKD looking like they really want to do long range damage and basically just defend this over. Mm-hmm.
Who's apparently it's not just us. It's not just us. It looks like our players are also struggling as well. We had, I believe, a disconnect earlier on, and I don't know. I think I haven't heard a word out of Wonder, for the last 3-4 minutes. So I feel like something's going on there.
Well, I mean, Chef, he is he's jinxed the entire stream from the get go. So I mean. If anything, you shouldn't be blaming the technical issues on me for the broadcast. It should be on Chef.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chef. I can only say that because you're not here. So
yeah. I'm actually taking a look at chat. I don't know if we've heard the tales of Gasman and the warm Dr. Pepper in the PSU. Reading the chat in the lobby right now. Some people are claiming maybe there's some beer being spilled. I don't know. I think last second should be fine. They have gotten Evictus back in. We're just waiting on Tizim right now. But while we have this chance, let's go ahead and talk about the map a little bit, So largely, it does seem like it has kind of changed, right? In particular, when you're playing normal matchmaking or ranked, you see a lot of people here on point A, in ranked in particular, try to play up close on that initial corner on the defense, but that's not really how it works out here in the competitive setting.
For point A, that's I'd say most of the fight that is happening, and then whenever there's a team, especially in a rank, what do you call this? When when the attackers are able to get in point A, most of the battles then happen to immediately from the entrance of B point, and can only barely get into to the actual B site, but then. When players get into the B rank, that is where the chaos happens. Everyone is just falling down the ocean, going. Basically, everything happens there. It's very unpredictable.
Yeah, I mean, we see so much fighting. Like you said, that initial choke point, right after A, when you're just trying to make your way on over to the B side. As soon as you get on that ship, it's such an arduous task to try and break through that initial choke right after point A. I mean, we do see a lot of sniper play. I don't know if we're going to be seeing it here. There were inklings of it on the offense, but right now we are still just waiting. We're, I think, resetting the entire lobby just in case. Right. And it is the first map. Harbor City is definitely, I would say, a lot more fun to watch, especially when it comes to how strong our sniper players are here in genl.
Yeah, and another thing, right? Another thing to add into that is that I'd say that it's quite harder map to play on if you're on the attacker because of the the options are very limited to both of the teams. That there's really only one entrance going to the B point. Except if you have like flying maneuvers, flying mobility into your unit, but otherwise, it's really hard to play if you're on the attacking side once you get out of the A point, I'd say.
Yeah, luckily, for that initial choke point, you at least have the spawn that's right there, right? So trying to regroup, We don't see too many.
It's not
teams
as far
getting-
away.
Yeah, I mean, this entire map, right? It's kind of flipped in what happens, right? The defense starting on A have the longest run back, and then on B, the offense have an extremely long run back.
Right. And, again, for this match, it's going to be Tekka Dynasty and Last Second. So for those who are watching, this is the lower bracket, the finals, which is going to be a best of 3. And then whoever's going to be winning this one would be, fighting up against Mafty on the grand finals in a best of 5 fashion.
Yeah, so just to, catch everyone up once again. So Tekka Dynasty versus Last Second. The first map is Harbor, and then we'll be moving on to Quarry. So I misspoke a little bit earlier when I said there might be there won't be a chance for us to see 4 maps set, but Quarry, you can still tie on that one, and then that would take us to a tiebreaker map. And then if it went 1-1, we would be going to Mountain R&D to finish things off. But then from there's no tiebreaker because it is,
right,
just pure domination. Only one team can walk out the winner. So I'm glad that we get to at least, cap off a match with a domination match where they can't be a tie. Right now, though, we are resetting the lobby. There were 2 crashes, it seems like, and it was all on the same team. And so we really do want to make sure that our players, are set up to be able to succeed in this regard, because it's really unfortunate. But for right now, I think, I mean, so far, you've only been able to cast 2 games. What have your thoughts been regarding kind of competitive Gundam Evolution?
No, yeah, it has been quite... It's so different from playing on ranked modes and, casual matches as well, to the point that, okay, so... it actually introduced me to, okay, this is what competitive Gundam is. It's very fast. I already expected it to be fast, right? I already expected it to be fast, but never did I thought that it is going to be this fast. I mean, I haven't casted a game as fast as Gundam Evo. That's what I can say.
Yeah, I feel like, especially for one of your first cast being a Mafty game, that's absolutely insane because it's one of the best, well, not one of the best current team in North America when it comes to Gundam Evolution. 2 times winners that are on the verge of a 3-peat. They're waiting in the grand finals right now, but they're a team that loves to control the chaos, and you get to see how they kind of maneuver around when it comes to the battlefield, right? Because it's not just about like you said, in ranked it's completely different, right? All of a sudden you're fighting with your team, and then all of a sudden you hear every single G maneuver going off, and you're like, guys, no, that's not what we do here. We can't use every G maneuver. We still have to play for B point. Come on.
No, yeah, but for sure, with that being said, I'm really, glad to be here as well. Thank you for everyone who made it happen as well. But I'd love to see more, and I would love to learn more from the community and from you guys as well, so that we can bring more of, the action of the, of our tournaments. But with that being said, we are now going into game number 1 of Tekka Dynasty versus Last Second. Again, of course, this is still going to be on the Harbor
Your
stick.
goal is to capture
Yeah.
both
So
target
Tekka
locations.
Dynasty will be starting
mission is
off
about to
on the
begin.
offense. It's Last Second here on the defense end. Taking a look at their compositions, nothing's really changing. I believe, Tizim, before the crashes were happening, he ended up on the Pale Rider, and it was kind of surprising because even yesterday we saw some reluctance to actually go for that Gym Sniper. But, on point A, I feel like, especially on the defense, it is one of the more favored units.
Right. But here you go. I was just about to mention that we might go to a war here, colony war, because I pronounce it as GM instead of Jim. Please don't hate me, guys.
Okay, so I one of my favorite series growing up was 08th MS Team. So that's where they always called it the gym, right? Because it was military slang lingo, very Vietnamish. But anyhow, here we go. As the gates have unlocked, Tekka Dynasty on the offense.
Wow, look at that. Tekka Dynasty really having a hard time right now, as Last Second is really, really putting up a fight here against Tekka Dynasty. Beautiful defense here.
Yeah, they've got to be careful. They hear those sniper shots on the other side. You can see they don't want to peek. As I believe almost every unit here is in one-shot range of a headshot. And so right now, it all comes down to Red Protocol. One shot, that's all he needs.
Right, but as we can notice here as well, like, TKD here is slowly but surely pushing in. Last second here, while they are holding, they are getting pushed back a little bit, bit by bit by TKD.
Yeah, you can see why you don't want to play into that corner. It works as like an initial kind of funnel for a lot of teams, and Mr. Big Large was able to get a huge thermite down onto them. They got the initial pick off of it as well. So Tekka Dynasty, they're going to be sent back, and they have to reset at this point. For the last second, though, they're doing a great job. Take a look at their G maneuver build-up.
Right, so all of them almost half there, whereas, TKD is more or less like a fourth of their G maneuvers. But look at that amazing headshot here. Future Blind is going to be taken down. And, another thing that's amazing here is that, last second here is trying to bake down TKD into, trying to get in, making them think that, okay, hey, you guys can get in, try to push in a little bit. And from there on out, they just, like, punish them immediately, and just like that, they're going to be able to take down 2. Don't make that 3. A lot of them are lower down at the moment. There's going to be the methods going to be taken down as well.
This is a beautiful play coming out from last second here on the defense so far. Remember that initial pick came out from Red Protocol. They had the backup though. They had the Suzabi, the big tanky body, to get that repair, but ultimately at the end of the scrap, it is going to be Tekka Dynasty. Remember, every time you lose a unit, the defense is getting so weak because of the long run backs. Red Protocol with a nice shot, and now here they are onto point A.
Right, beautiful take, and I think, last second here would still have a little bit of a time here to get in, just so that they can contest this this point. But at this point on, I think it would be best if they can just give it up, and then just have a little bit of regroup and be prepared for the B point.
Oh, that's really unfortunate. You're right. I mean, now they're just kind of in really hot water. They lost out on Mr. Big Large. They lost out on the Blue Jay, and it's the butterfly. And that's a beautiful butterfly coming out from last second because they needed it. That huge clutch up from Fusion Blackie here, and we talked about it. This choke point is so incredibly hard to push through.
Especially as an attacker, because again, the options are very limited here, and everything of those limited options, everything is on the advantage of the defensive on the defense team.
Yeah. For the offense, though, for Tekka Dynasty, they do have the Ashmar Punch along with that Screaming Nimbus. The Screaming Nimbus is usually used to open things up and charge forward. We'll see if they can find the initiative.
Here we go. Let's find out together if that's going to be happening. They still have, however, 2 minutes and a half here, so they still have a little bit of an ample amount of time here to play around, so that they can get in. But look at that, a beautiful attack here coming in from the Dom here. Are they going to be able to try to, push them away? Not quite yet, but it's going to be 2 down for both of the teams. Then we got 3 into TKD.
Oh, I love
full defense from teams.
I love that play coming out from last second, actually. But they do have 1 player from TKD on the point right now. That was 2. That's Red Protocol and Hawklight going down. But you saw, again, the offense. They try to open things up. They went in with the Screaming Nimbus. You know what Tazim does? He gets on high ground. So he can't get taken out, and as players run in behind that Screaming Nimbus, he's focusing them down with the Hades. But here's the second attempt coming out from Tekka Dynasty to crack through this choke point.
Right, but here we go. A minute and a half, more or less, left here for TKD to get in, but last second, going to be able to take down 5 of them in the process. Oh my goodness. Zim is just comparing with the team and said, hey, we can definitely do this.
Yeah, we're seeing why Ashimar is such a huge pickup, but what just happened? 3 members of last second just got obliterated. They disappeared off the face of the map. This is the opening that Tekka Dynasty needed.
And here comes the Lumiere as well, coming in from Chaotic, of course, with that of the very newest, the newest suit in the game here. That is the Hyperion with Nostalgia here, trying to get in. But last second, 3 of them are now in, and that is going to be outnumbered. They're not going to be able to defend themselves, not without any help.
Yeah. They were not able to secure a second tick. They got 1 on that last push with the Screaming Nimbus. And I'm so glad that Nostalgia was able to hold on to that butterfly. They have so many G maneuvers online right now. They're popping all of them.
And there's another one. Oh, TKD needs this, but they're not going to be able to take down anyone with the butterfly. Unfortunate for them, and they only have 30 seconds left here. There's going to be 2 down for them, but at the very least, Hyperion and the Ashmore have their G maneuvers ready.
Ashmore punch in the back. He gets his in down, and now last second they are scrambling.
Oh, it was a good thing that they were playing Ashmore, allowing them to get out of that of the pit.
Oh man, 7 seconds remaining. Tekka Dynasty are only able to get 43%. They need to get someone on the board, but Fusion Blackie is back where it all started with that butterfly. They're gonna go ahead and close that one out. And now we're gonna be swapping sides. Man, what an exciting first round.
That is definitely a very, very exciting first round, and compared to the first game that we've had, for the first match that we've had, for today's stream, this was, as you mentioned, more of a controlled gameplay for both of the teams, compared to Mafty's really aggressive gameplay. So, well, it's less fast paced than the first game, but like otherwise, it's still a great match to watch.
Yeah, there was one great moment there, and it was, of course, that huge butterfly coming out from Blackie. But it's not just the fact that he was able to kill 5, 6, the entire team with it. It was the fact that last second needed it at that moment, because as they were trying to contest on point A, they ended up losing out on Blue Jay, and they ended up losing out on Mr. Big Lush, who was on Ashmar. Those are your 2 big AoEs in the Dom spam, right? With the rockets and the fire coming out from the Ashmar, that's usually used to control that choke point that TKD were trying to push through. Without the 2 of them there, they had almost no presence, and so they needed Fusion Blackie to slow things down. They were running back, and that's what he was able to do, slowing down Tekka Dynasty so much.
Right, and to add into that, again, as you mentioned, that is something, that is the moment that they really needed, because like that was also the moment where TKD was slowly pushing in, and if Fusion Blackie wasn't able to use a G maneuver at that point, I think that game would have went the other way around, where TKD is going to be able to get in that second point for that map.
And here we go. It's going to be last second now on the offense. Fusion Blackie still on that turn A Gundam. Exponent, of course, going to the skies just to get a cheeky little scan across the TKD members.
Oh, wow. Red Protocol putting up the protocol that they needed, some headshots, and they did.
Yeah, Hawklight also finding one as well. And I love how they're playing around this gym sniper. You saw that Chaotic, I believe, was hovering right on top of him just to make sure if he needs that shield, the Lumiere put it up, and then he'll be safe. But you can see now Tazim is trying to find an opening.
Blue Jay here. Both of them last second trying to find an opening, as you mentioned, and now they're trying to get in. And look at that. Lumiere is going to be activated. Nobody inside the Lumiere, however.
And Chaotix is one by himself. He needs to back away. He ends up getting 1 pack, but he's getting chased down.
Never mind.
Falls.
Never mind. It doesn't matter if they're alone. Their teammates are going to go with them. They're going to adjust for them. And now look at them. At a 3-minute mark, they are now taking in point A quicker than how TKD took it away from them.
Yeah, TKD got slowed down so much by last second's defense. It took maybe 2 pushes there, but for the last second, they just waited things out. They were able to find, it wasn't an initial pick, but a lot of burst damage onto 1 unit, forcing them to use a lot of their health packs on the retreat, and then initially push in. But here is the defense nostalgia. Actually close to that Moonlit Butterfly. He's at 72% for the G maneuver, but he's not going to have it for this first push. We'll see how long it takes LS to try and push through this choke.
Right, so Red Protocol now actually changing up into that of the new Gundam, which is actually very good as well. They just wanted to buy in some time for their teammates to be able to take in that A point, but otherwise, they still need to get in. And look at that, they're going to be able to take down 5 into the side of last second, and now TKD is just defending this quite well against LS. But LS, though, again, as they are able to take in that A point, the respawn point is now, nearer than ever. But the Lumiere is going to be coming up as well.
Oh boy, it is a scrappy fight right now, but Red Protocol finds a nice kill, allowing the defense to reestablish themselves. Unfortunately, though, they are no longer at the choke point. You can see now, Last Second, really turning the screws on the defense here. Effect will not get rezzed up as the Hades has been popped by Tizim, and now they're charging forward.
Right, and look at that again. Last Second here only needs 44%, and they're already taking it. But here comes the butterfly as well, coming in from last. Oh, okay, no, never mind. Not Last Second, but rather from Nostalgia. But they're going to be taken out as well. But look at that. At the very least, Nostalgia, while taken down, was able to repel away Last Second from that from the B side, from them being able to taking that one away from TKD.
Yeah, and for TKD, even though they ended up using that butterfly and it got shut down rather quickly, they still have a lot of G maneuvers for this defense. They've got the energy cable, but here comes the Screaming Nimbus from Last Second.
Here we go. Oh my goodness, going to be able to take down that Hyperion and deal some damage to the others as well. Screaming Nimbus definitely does a lot of work here. But we have to remember that there's still 2 minutes and a half here coming in from Last Second for them to play around with. But here comes Fusion Blackie with the butterfly. However, that is, they're still not going to be able to push in. But never mind, they are going to be able to push in now. But here comes the grab here. But the team maneuver coming in from the Hyperion as well. My goodness. Huge push there for TKD.
Oh, and they are cleaning up Fusion Blackie once again with that Miracle Moonlit Butterfly. Ooh. It is going to be the MVP of this map for Last Second. We even got a really weird interactions between the Turn A Gundams that try to overhead each other at that point. What a weird thing. But yeah, no surprise. That it was either going to be Fusion Blackie or Mr. Big Large. Both of them had some great moments there. The Turn A along with that Ashmar combo, so good here on Harbor City.
No, yeah, for sure. And again, with all the crowd control that these units, these suits have, in this map, is just really valuable just because of the fact that, again, you could. Well, if you are on the Turn A, you can just throw them away into the ocean. If you're Ashmore, you can punch them away into the ocean. Well, of course, obviously, and not just into the ocean, but like just pushing them in general with the Screaming Nimbus as well is just quite a huge thing for your team to have, especially just because of the fact that Harbor City, especially on the B point, is that it is a very tight location for any team fights to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we at least have the one map where there is environmental kills, right? But anything more than that, I would not be able to handle it. So I'm glad we only have it there in Harbor City. But that is Harbor City. That
maybe not as rough as Harbor City. for a different map, right?
Or maybe like in one of the space maps, you like float off into the distance if you like fly too high as an Ashamar, and you like float off into the sun. What about that? All right, we are now just waiting for our second map. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I believe, was it Flak? No, Quarry for our second map. It is Quarry, yeah. And that's going to be interesting. I'm wondering if we're going to see in Quarry one of our Barbados players coming in for this one, because Quarry is one of those maps where our Barbados can go absolutely buck wild.
No, yeah, for sure. Especially that, Quarry is one of those maps where, while it is a little bit tough, sorry, not tough, but rather tight, in terms of like, the roads, would you say it? It is, I guess, one of the maps that's most optimal for Barbados, right? For the Barbie to get in on team fights and, destroy whoever is going to be peeping up, if they choose to peep against their opponents, whoever's using the Barbie.
Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and take a quick break while we get the map set up. And when we get back, we'll have map number 2 of Tekka Dynasty versus Last Second right after this.
wanna cry. Wanna cry.
All right, welcome back to the lower finals here at the Gen L Breakout Series. Lower bracket finals. Once again, it's going to be last second now, looking for that rematch up against Mafty as we move on to Quarry for map number 2.
Your mission is to destroy
And this is what
both
you're talking
target
about as well,
locations.
right? Like,
The
we're gonna be
mission is
seeing
about
more
to
of the
begin.
Barbatos here, more of the Barbie, really. So, we have a Barbie here in Chaotic's hands, and TKD, we have one as well for, and Gasmas, as we've seen on, game number 1 of today's stream, into last second. But of course, we're going to be able to see, those are appearance as well. And of course, new Gundam into TKD, and we have the, the Unicorn Gundam into the side of Fusion Blackie instead of the Turn A Gundam.
Wow, I mean, I'd be surprised if they do go for that new Gundam. I mean, they still have options, right? They are on the offense, and so if they need to swap off, they can definitely swap off. But I feel like, yeah, you definitely need to at least stick with the Hyperion. So incredibly strong right now. But as the gates unlock, Tekka Dynasty are going to have to fight incredibly hard for this waypoint.
Right, and here we go. The gates are now open for the destruction of the map. It is going to be, once again, Quarry for our second game. And again, if last second here wins, then they have a chance to get in against, go back against, have a run back against Mafty here. But here comes Chaotic with a jump. Mind you, that's actually whiffing.
But they do end up focusing down Invictus, but the trades are going in favor of the defense. There we go. It's a 2 for 2. And there's the res with the energy cable coming out from Red Protocol to keep his team up. But they still need to try and get more kills here, and they will find it.
There's going to be 3 down into, last second. They're going to be able to try to take in this away point and successfully doing so as well. But, man, here comes the, here's where the actual action is going to start. Where they need to get in on the A point or the B point. Or, sorry, you know what? Let's just call it the first point. There it is.
Yeah, I think right now for them, they are feeling really strong to try and go for B. Chaotic had a great push, and there is the pick from last second. And so, someone even got the flank throughout all of that, JJ, and was able to neutralize the waypoint. Now, this team is kind of isolated out here, trying to decide which point to plant on.
Yeah, and this is actually going to be crucial as well for TKD, just because of the fact that if they get taken out there, they have to travel a long distance for them to be able to get into any plant points.
Yeah, and just now they got that waypoint once again for them. Mr. Big Large, though, with a huge Ashmar punch in that last fight, helped them wipe them all out. But they are not able to kind of establish themselves back outside to possibly fight for that waypoint. So now it's going to be up to TKD. Where do they want to take this?
Yeah, let's find out together, as they are still, you know, having a little bit of a tough time here into, you know, knowing when and knowing where to go for the first point. Just because of the fact that, you know, Last Second here is defending really well.
Barbie Gasman coming in as they're able to find two, I believe, with a G maneuver before ultimately going down. But things were going in the favor of Tekka Dynasty before Gasman was able to clutch up for his squad and slow things down. Now Tekka Dynasty, they're down to 2 minutes and they don't quite have the G maneuvers you really want to push in yet. It's the energy cable as the first online effect might possibly have that punch for his squad, but really what they need is Chaotic to come up with that Barbados G maneuver.
Right. No, yeah, for sure. And, you know, we have to remember that while TKT here does have, you know, access to most of their G maneuvers, and almost actually everyone has their G maneuvers, they still have to think about the second point as well. So they cannot, like, just use it immediately for the first point. But look at this. They're now trying to, you know, plant the mega charge, but they're going to be stopped in.
That
Beautiful
was
stuff.
Mr. Big Large with another big punch to stop the plant, and now you can see Blue Jay getting some free damage off of Barbados in the back line. Chaotic is here, misses the stun, and now he's trying to back away. No, he does end up finishing off Blue Jay. They might go for the plant once again.
They did, and this time successfully doing so as well. You know, that punch was so big because that was like at the very last second of happening, but look at that. Gets a stun and gets it down as well.
Chaotic is coming up clutch for his squad right now, keeping things alive, but they are back on to that Mega Charge defuse, and they do end up getting it. So now Tekka Dynasty, they only ended up getting 26.8% there on that Mega Charge. They have 40 seconds. This is their last shot. Like you said, JJ, they spent so many G maneuvers on that one. Now they only have the one.
My goodness, this is going to be a hard time for TKD, especially if they only have 30 seconds left. But look at that, here comes the G maneuver coming in from Invictus, but unfortunately not going to be able to finish the job.
Yeah, but the thing is, that was a counter G maneuver. Hawklight tried to go in with that Screaming Nimbus. He jumps over the Screaming Nimbus, goes in with that Lancer, and creates so much havoc that they're not able to follow up. Chaotic, though, tries to find anything, but he cannot get into the back. He cannot get to the plants, and that will be Last Second, stopping Tekka Dynasty here with only 27% on that Mega Charge.
That is true. And now, man, Last Second looking like they really want to get the run back against Mafty. You know, Last Second here only needs to get, they don't even need to get 1 point. You know, for this map as the attacker, they only need to get 27 points, 27% of the Mega Charge, and from there on out, they already won the game.
Yeah, that's a very small margin, right? It's like as soon as that Mega Charge is down, if you don't have players on ready to try and go for that disarm, you're basically done. But taking a look at this meta, we can see how hard it is to try to go for that disarm.
Yeah, and again, very beautiful defense here coming in from Last Second. TKD, however, I think they did a pretty good job as well. It's just that, you know, the defense here by Last Second was just quite greater than the offense of TKD, and you know, at this point on, we have to hope for TKD having that very beautiful and huge wall against Last Second, because if they can't, again, they would have to say goodbye to the tournament.
Yeah, if they can, though, if they can go for the full hold here on the map and make sure they don't even get a plant, we will be going to map 3, which will be on a Mountain R&D, and I would love to see Mountain R&D. These battles between Gasman and Chaotic, the Barbados 1v1s or duels has been so incredibly fun to watch. I want more of it here, but Last Second, like you said, are looking for that rematch up against Mafty.
Man, I wish someone would play the Grandpa as well. But, you know, again, it's understandable. You know, what works now is what you need to play. But look at that. This is going to be the final stand here for TKD if they can manage to hold this away immediately from that of the relay point.
All right, Wonder's been wanting it. I think we have almost every unit played now with the Mahiru coming out for Exponent. Unfortunately for the last second, though, they end up losing out on Gasman, but that's kind of what you do. You send him in to try and get something. It's feast or famine. And when he's feasting, he will be eaten good. But last second, though, do push them back at the very least. They get the waypoint, and now they're going in.
Oh, look at that. Gasman actually going in for the flank as well into that of the B site. But look at that. Last second, trying to spread away TKD and successfully doing so as well. They're going to be able to take down 3 in the process, and they're going to be able to try to plant away the Mega Charge, but unfortunately going to be stopped here by TKD. Very beautiful stuff for them if they want to survive the tournament.
Oh, Gasman on the lurk in the back. He's actually been spotted out by Effect. And this is like a horror movie. Effect wants to check that corner, but he needs the backup. Gasman is there. Oh no, here's Mr. Big Large. Effect will ultimately go down. And now the Mega Charge is going down. Never mind, it gets stopped.
Not yet. Not yet. Not quite yet. Exponent here. Trying to get in some axe here. Here comes the axe. Not going to be able to hit anyone.
I'm surprised.
Unfortunately.
He didn't actually like try to go for the charge with it to follow up and go for that one shot. And now with the big shielding members here, they got the Lumiere shield down. Exponent doesn't get the plant.
Wow, beautiful defense here coming from TKT, unallowing last second to get what they want. But here you go, waypoint has been recaptured here by last second.
And 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That is what's remaining for last second. Who, off of, I don't know, a really strange push that somehow pushed TKD all the way back, they just never were able to get the plant down. So they're basically down to half their time. They have to deal with TKD, who have 5 G maneuvers online, while all they have is a punch.
Ooh! That is true, but that is going to be a big one at that. And look at that, that's going to be 4 down into last second, while TKD is doing so much. Screaming Nimbus is going to be popped up as well, and going to be able to take down 5 to make the team kill as well in the process. TKD defending this really well, not having any percentages into the Mega Charge for last second. My goodness, I've been speaking so early, I haven't considered even yet. TKT defending this really well. Ladies and gentlemen, TKT is in the house right now.
Man, when you go for that big swing, you gotta worry about the counter, and that was what Effect had. Chaotic trying to shut down the Screaming Nimbus, but we have the huge clutch up now. 2 coming in for Blue Jay, and the defense is scrambling. The Mega Charge is down at A.
Okay, maybe I spoke too soon once again, as they were able to plug the Mega Charge and now defend this really well. Let's find out. The Sun is going to be taken down. The Sun is going to be 3 down, and they were able to not find any mistake at all. And last second is going to be the winner for the lower bracket finals, moving over to the grand finals, getting a chance for a run back against Mafty.
Oh man, Mr. Big Large with the second MVP. Wow. Once again on that Ashmar. We are seeing why the Ashmar is basically a 100% pick rate, but both him and Effect had some great moments there. I was talking about the Barbados, right? And how great it's going to be to see their like 1v1 the Effect they had, but no, it was the Ashmar players, JJ.
Not in this game. Not in this game. Yeah, sure. We were looking forward to that of the Barbies, but as you mentioned, it was the Ashmar that has the spotlight for this match.
Yeah, and it was such an incredible play. But the thing was, it wasn't just the Ashmars. This is a 6v6. It was a team game.
Right.
There were a lot of great moments. I mean, let's talk about some of the Hyperion G maneuvers that were coming in, all the Screaming Nimbuses. What are your favorite parts about this match?
Man, definitely, man, my favorite part of this match was definitely going to be the last team fight that had happened in game number 2, just because of the fact that it was very clutch coming in from from last second, and the mere fact that TKD was able to defend and have a team wipe rather without using any G maneuvers in the process, allowing them to still make use of G maneuvers later on in the team fight was just fascinating to watch. It's just that quite unfortunate that TKD, well, they weren't able to defend the Mega Charge away from last second immediately after that team fight.
Yeah. So last second started off the day, of course, in our winners finals. Got sent down to the lower bracket by our two-time reigning champions of Mafty. They'll be hitting off. It's going to be a best of 5. What are you expecting out of that match between Mafty and Last Second? Between the last, I don't know, 30 minutes in between the sets, do you think Last Second have figured out anything to try and challenge Mafty again?
You know, I personally think that Last Second would have a lot of adjustments now going into, Mafty. And at the same time, we have to consider that, yeah, sure, Mafty has been watching the stream as well. I know you guys are watching as well, watching, trying to study, their opponents or, well, upcoming opponent, whoever that's going to be, might be Tekka Dynasty or Last Second. But, at this point, we already know it's going to be Last Second. But at the same time, the momentum is currently into the side of Last Second, whereas Mafty has been waiting for their matches to get finished. So if anything, I'd say Last Second definitely does have the advantage right now, but we cannot dismiss the power of Mafty and at the same time.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and get that match set up. Map picks and bans going to be happening fairly shortly for the grand finals of the Breakout Series event number 3. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back after this break.
So well here, they are actually holding such a great forward movement, but here we go, the Screaming Nimbus is going to start off this first counter push, and we're going to see 2, everybody going down the Hades as well, Arrow taking out 3 different suits, from Profi walking directly from Casino, just blocking every single shot out of that clip.
Boondiggles though ends up picking his G maneuver, and that's going to be 3 going down.
So we are going to see, we're going to see a huge push here. Casino pushing in first a lot of the time, just taking a little bit of extra damage on that pretty high HP suit. But can they clear out Keicho here to get this plan? It looks like they're at least going to drive them back. But this is a great counter push.
Trading away. Oh no, the trades are not going in their favor quite yet, but the turret is there for a robot to pick up a few more now in extra time, taking away Tekka Dynasty. Just needs to clear off one more member of Last Second. Absolutely crucial. We'll pop the G maneuver, but it's Mr. Big Large going in and going down with that punch. Does give his life to the effort. They are on point right now with 2 minutes remaining. Nice mid-air shot coming up from Kazim, utilizing that G maneuver.
We do see Nostalgia with the butterfly at the ready. We see the energy cable. It's going to be the combo again. Is there a counter, or is this just a team wipe? I'll tell you which one of those. It is the second. Almost every single person, 1 person away from being an actual 6 kill. Oh, come on, the flex.
That punch.
But here we go. Double G maneuver. How many people get picked up? 3, I don't even know. 2 into the ocean. 1 more getting knocked all the way to the other side of the map. And that's the Lancer that we wanted to see. If they did defense, that's going to be their best option. Can they even get there first is the main question. And that's going to be huge 3 from Dark and Fester. And that is such a huge delay. Alongside the flame grenades are just go from Red Protocol. It's so difficult. So difficult to get into that spot, and even though there hasn't been that many full kills, just already stopping this momentum is huge, because like you said, they have to go fast.
Of that high ground quite yet.
It's like everyone would
does
be
get
size of
knocked
a
to the
society
ground, but will survive for the time being. And there it is, Red Protocol with the punch and the setup. He sets up his own pins to knock them all down. One trick Tony has to be ready to respond to it. He does throw down that AoE, and there it is, the Barbados G maneuver. Chaotic coming up with 4, and they are instantly onto the point, dealing with 1 last member here, and that is going to be the enemy Barbados. He's 10% away from having that Screaming Nimbus.
We did see the, wait a minute, here we go. This is huge. How many can you get? 3, 4? Wait, no, that was just the 3. That was just 3. We got to see them again, but that was a huge push back to the waypoint.
board. Activate.
And welcome back, everybody. It's time for grand finals here at the Breakout Series Event number 3. It all comes down to these two teams between Mafty, who's sitting in the winner's side of grand finals, and of course, Last Second, who we just saw win that last match. I'm EGP Wonder Chef, and I'm back on the desk with James Jamerson Lee for this grand finals. We had some fun casting with JJ today, but I'm glad to be back with you for this final match.
Yeah, and this final match, I mean, what we saw out of Last Second there looked absolutely fantastic. So many different members of Last Second coming in clutch, and we saw them. You know, there were moments in their initial match in the winners finals where they looked like they staggered Mafty, but still the composure of champions rings true, and they were able to hold on. Hopefully, though, we have a much closer race here in the best of 5 that we have for the grand finals.
Seeing that one particular round was huge to me. That one Flak Fort push when they were playing up in the winners finals, where they just dominated for the first, I don't even know, couple of minutes of the game. They got all the way to 3 ticks. That makes me feel like they could absolutely at least take a game or a few games at the very minimum up in this match. But we should have the picks and bans ready pretty soon because I'm excited to see this. It is, of course, going to be a 3 out of 5 match. It will be a few less banned maps than we're used to seeing. We are going to have our only 3 out of 5 match, of course, for the grand finals.
Yeah. So each side will be only afforded one ban as we have a 7-map pool. And taking a look at our first bans coming in, it's of course Mafty that's going to have the winner side advantage with that, and it's Quarry getting banned out by Mafty. So last second, what are they going to choose?
Looks like they're going to get rid of Colony Trading Post. Quarry's an interesting one to get banned from Mafty because they're usually pretty good at it, but I get the Barbados is just so strong in last second. And Underground Command Center is going to be the first pick by Mafty. That makes sense. I think that's classically been their strongest map.
Yeah, this is so interesting because it's 2 destruction maps getting banned out, and then we get a destruction map being picked up by Mafty, but this isn't one, like you said, that Barbados doesn't have the same kind of swing on Underground Command Center, but on Thermal Plant, you can definitely be brought out. We'll see, though, the scariness of Arrow's Zaku 2 range as we have the rest of the picks coming in.
Right, even though it does say banned, these are going to be the selected maps for the end of the set if it does get there. Mount R&D Lab seems to be a common decider throughout this entire tournament, but I feel like just looking at these maps that we are seeing from picked from each team, it feels like we are seeing Mafty want to go to a little bit more wide open spaces. It seems like we're seeing the last second try to get to a little bit more closed in spaces, and in the end it just comes down to Mountain R&D, which seems like it does make a lot of sense. Like we said, you know, the strength of the Barbados and just the whole team of last second seems to do quite well in that close-up space, but we'll see how well exactly it does end up going. As expected, of course, in grand finals we are going to see a good amount of variance in the map pools. We saw this, I'd say the best match, right, in winners finals be in a point capture mission, so we might see that be a strength again as well of the team of last second, but we're going to have to wait to see. Of course, we are going to start off our 3 out of 5 set here in grand finals in just a moment as we get into map number 1, but we're going to go to a short break as we get the players in and get the lobby started, so don't go anywhere. We're going to start grand finals right after this.
both target objectives.
Map
The
1 of
mission is
Grand
about to
Finals will
begin.
be Underground Command Center as Mafty is going to be taking on Team Last Second. That is going to be Mafty on the left. We see the switch into Carl Sagan with that Gym Sniper, which I know you are very excited about.
There's a lot of things to be excited here for, right? Especially for Team Mafty. But Carl Sagan on that Gym Sniper is going to be great. I think the addition of Arrow as well. You know, he can play that RX-78. We have been seeing a lot of Sazabis in play, but I feel like once we do get on to that maybe B site, there's an option for him to actually swap off from that RX-78 and go for the Zaku 2 range. I feel like Zaku 2 range here on Underground Command Center is really good for the second half.
Yeah, you know I love Arrow's like cast of suits that they play. It's a really cool, flexible set of stuff that we don't get to see all the time, but I think are really strong suits like the Zaku. But here we go. Carl Sagan will be the sniper on one side. On the other side, they don't actually even have a sniper. Last Second seems like they're more content just holding the tight angles, but we'll see if any of these picks make a huge difference.
Yeah, Tazim's actually on the RX-78 himself, and so this is going to be a largely, you know, Sazabi-focused battle right now, and you can see why. You want to make sure that the sniper can't hide behind that big shield. Profi tries to get aggressive, and there it is, the first knock coming out from Carl Sagan.
We're just dashing in and getting down as well really instantly, and we're seeing a lot of the members of Last Second go down. They're getting pushed back. That was a huge flame grenade from Focus, and look at this chase. Focus, one of the only Ashmars that truly shoots as much as in the transformed form as in the base form. It's actually really impressive, a very difficult thing to control.
Oh man, the neutral fighting around your Sazabis. This is so huge. Last Second, not able to mount a defense here as the Mega Charge does go down on point A. And this is such a huge clutch position for them. They don't have any G maneuvers available because the push has been so largely one-sided, though Arrow is close towards that Super Napalm.
That can be huge on this point. You can throw it above or below or in the little corridors, and it is just actually unkillable, and you can control at least a good amount of time. You can guarantee that there's an explosion if you use it late enough, but Blue Jay, wow, getting melted just trying to peek. Both sides of the ramps are being peeked by Mafty, and they are just pincering this entire team of Last Second. Tizim is the only one up and finally goes down. That is going to be a full team wipe, and that is going to be a tough call to try and get this disarm. I think they might just back up and just try to get into that choke point. But look at this! Look how aggressive Mafty is being.
Oh, wow. They're catching them on the stagger. They're catching them on the forward spawns. That's 2 down. That should basically be a free fight for them as they do end up getting that Mega Charge off on the first half. They're going to chase after a little bit more. Mr. Big Large has to be careful. He is a little bit isolated by himself, but he is on that Ashmar. Should be able to back away. Exponent, though, forced to take that mini heal pack as he tries to retreat, but they are still on the hunt. You can see Carl Sagan is up top as well with all the space in the world to work with. He's going to go ahead and pop that G maneuver, giving them the wall hacks, and they try to push forward. Blue Jay finally answers back, but that's only Casino falling.
Yeah, you can see this, which is going to be a relay take for sure. And now the question is, which side did they go to? They have held so much momentum. Sees him going down so quickly. What a shot from Arrow.
Yeah, Arrow has been holding on to this G maneuver as well, and it basically performs exactly the same here in the second half as well. You can go ahead and cover both sides, as now we are seeing a little bit of a defense coming up from Last Second, and they're creating a way. No Mega Charge down as this fight has continued. Profi off on his own, unfortunately, as that's Sazabi. He's going to hold on to his G maneuver. Focus, though, we'll see if he can build up another one. Arrow actually pops down his Super Napalm, but it gets cleared out.
Ooh, yeah, that's unfortunate. That was going to be a really key spot, but great defense. Of course, great reactions from the defense here. Blue Jay and Expedient are going to be hunting down whoever that was that they were chasing over there. Another member of Team Last Second, but, or I'm sorry, the other way around. Mafty, there's so many people fighting in so many different areas here. It's actually kind of hard to see where they're going. We're going to see the other Super Napalm come down. Let's see, it doesn't quite get any kills, but of course that is going to just stop the disarm for quite a while at least. It's going to make them have to reposition.
Yeah, Mafty now only really working with the energy cable. Here comes the screaming, or excuse me, the Lancer out from Evictus. And now it seems like the defense with those 4 kills will be able to get this defuse, and it's going to be back to square one for Mafty here on the second half.
Yeah, this is the first time that we've seen actually a defensive hold from Last Second. This is something that they're going to really need to take advantage of. You can take an offensive reposition here and try to retake the relay, but it looks like they weren't quite far forward enough to do that. We're already going to see the split push. We got, I could at least think it was Casino and Carl Sagan maybe down below. Oh, that was a great hyper hammer.
Yeah, the hyper hammer, but it's a 1-for-1 exchange. Casino falling, but Carl Sagan, he's still on that gym sniper, finding value for his squad. But here's the screaming Nimbus out from the defense to try and push out and make sure that Making Charge doesn't go down. Great stop to that plant with that final little bit of the screaming Nimbus. Blue Jay on the retreat. But it looks like Last Second have been able to at least push back the offense for the time being until Devotion finds another knock. Arrow is in position to possibly go forward and get that plant, but no, he covers the retreat of his Sazabi. Now they're going to regroup to go for the plant once again on A.
Oh, I love that they shifted who was planting so the Sazabi could use their shield and just the entire giant body to shield Arrow as they planted. That was super sick, and that's also going to be a great pick on Fusion Blackie. Evictus also going down as well. This is going to be probably a needs to regroup here. The sniping from Carl Sagan, though, so confident, as we've seen so many times, to stick on the gym sniper throughout the entirety of this map.
Yeah, funnels and the Ashramar punch. That's all Last Second have on this retake. On the other side for Mafty, they just got the wall hacks down. They got Focus with the punch, and they've got Arrow with the super napalm. They've also have Profi, who's almost got the funnels himself. Casino and Devotion picking up 2 as they try to run out of spawn, and things are not looking good for Last Second. They only have 15 seconds remaining.
Oh, yeah, and on top of that, yeah, like you said, just the G maneuvers, that Arrow G maneuver, I'm really curious where it's going to be thrown, the ARC-78 Super Napalm. That could basically guarantee it, and this looks like it's being thrown out. I don't see it exploding. Oh, it looks like it was exploding in the bomb room, which is going to guarantee that there's no chance to get that disarm. That is going to be a game 1 win, or I'm sorry, round 1 win for Mafty. That is exactly how you want to optimally use that Super Napalm. If you can get it down and make sure that it doesn't get destroyed within the final seconds of a, like, either a point capture or a disarm where, you know, the opponent needs to disarm or the opponent needs to plant on a destruction mission, it literally is just like, you cannot get into this space, you automatically lose. Not the easiest thing to get off, but you know, when you're somebody like Arrow, who's also, man, I know, leading the damage by quite a bit, very impressive on RX-78, you're going to see stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, Mafty were almost pushed to their limits there by Last Second, really struggling on the second half of the map. It was a really good defense mounted by Last Second, getting that first defuse, coming back, but Mafty, again, we know how good they are when they're fighting without their G maneuvers. It's once they get all their G maneuvers rotating in the right order where things just get almost unstoppable for them. They just need to take that time, right, to regroup, to regain the composure. Last Second, though, are doing a great job of making sure that they're not always in their comfort zone.
I agree. They've been doing a really good job of making Mafty not look as untouchable as they usually look. They're just not quite finding the little, like, coordinated pushes to get the full team wipe. So they're missing like 1 G maneuver at a time. They are just right on the edge of basically toppling the giant that is Mafty. They just need to find the right spot, and we'll see now how well they can do on this offense. Again, big sniper difference here. You know, no Gym Sniper on the side of Last Second on the offense, and we are going to see Carl Sagan with that full committal as we see 4 people up top to start the defense.
Yeah, and speaking of the defense, Arrow, not on the RX-78. They're not putting as much focus on the Sazabi here. They're going to play a little bit more range, a little bit more DPS, and so instead of going for that CC, they're going for the extra damage out with that Pale Rider to try and deal with it. They don't need it. Carl Sagan gets that first knock onto Mr. Big Large.
Such a giant head on Ashramar, honestly, super true. But we got the double shield going on the offense there, of course, with the Hyperion, the new Hyperion, and the Sazabi. However, it's not going to matter if you just get focused down by Focus, and that is just so much AoE damage into 1 choke point. This is a great team for being able to counter the double shield strategy, I feel. Despite the fact they don't have a melee, they can just AoE so much, and that is going to be just a fallback once again from Mafty as Last Second needs to regroup.
Things are a little bit scary here because Carl Sagan did so much damage, so did Arrow. So both of their offensive G maneuvers will be up fairly shortly here. Carl Sagan, just a few more headshots, should be able to get it. Exponent tries to find an angle on the left-hand side, gets hit up, and he's got to be careful backing away off of that. But they do just kind of push them back, and it's going to be LS just giving up, or excuse me, Mafty just giving up space, and we know how good they are about being able to back away and bait them into those shots.
Oh no, TZM just barely staying alive, but it just even peaking right here is death from Casino guaranteed, and that is what's going to happen. But Casino gets traded as well. I'm surprised we're seeing such a fight back here for the relay from the side of Mafty. I'm surprised they didn't just go back in, give up this relay, and decide to defend the point. Right now, they could get staggered with the fact that the people that they're killing are going to respawn in the exact same place that they are dying in about 15 seconds.
Yeah, for Mafty though, it's all about just falling back to angles that Carl Sagan and Arrow can continue to play. As you can see, the G maneuvers are all in their favor. Carl Sagan ultimately does go down, but they got the Ashmar punch along with the energy cable, and the Hades is going to be activated fairly shortly here for Arrow, and so Last Second still have their work cut out for them. 2 minutes of their time have already been taken out, and they are not quite yet on the point. They're still trying to clear things out.
The one nice thing about their comp is that if they can get the double shields down and somebody else planting, they can really guarantee that there's at least a plan. Of course, they might die after that, but Arrow with the double kill from the Hades. Carl Sagan on Profi also picking up some kills. That's going to be almost entirely a team wipe. Mr. Biglar's the only one left alive, just backing up, getting there at the spawn. But I still think that they need to abuse this double shield factor, right? They need to death ball in, they need to use a few G maneuvers and just try to get that initial plant off, because once you get this plant off on this point, it can be very hard to defuse.
The difficult part is that Mafty are so good at being able to deal with clumps and being able to deal with individual units. You got Carl Sagan on the sniper. Wait, hold on a second. Here's a screaming Nimbus. Casino goes in and he goes down.
Oh yeah, that's actually huge. The -1 screaming Nimbus and not really getting all that much mileage out of it. This could be a good opportunity for Last Second to push, but they've got a few members down. Exponent, Blue Jay, and Mr. Big Large all going down and then coming back up. So they're not going to be able to take advantage definitely of that pick on Casino, but also just more and more damage. This positioning from Mafty is so good. They are rotating around the top, the bottom, but it looks like this is a push to B from Last Second.
Yeah, Blue Jay though with the Screaming Nimbus along with that Unicorn Ultimate in the back line, the Ashmar punch. Everything is being used by Last Second here, and they will ultimately get that plant down on the A site. Now here's the troubling part. They don't have the same tools to really try and deal with this on the post plant, right? Using so many G maneuvers, all they have is that Lancer, and it could be good, but they need to try and get this Mega Charge down to about 10 seconds before they pop that one.
I almost wish they were on B. I feel like a Lancer to defend B would be disgusting. There's almost nowhere to move to avoid it, but it's gonna really, I think, come down to the usage of that. Focus has the punch, which could take out a lot of members if they are grouping up as well. This is gonna be a lot about positioning.
They have to get the first pick. There's a second one. Casino taking out Fusion, Blackie. And again, they're just so good about doing their due diligence, pushing out, clearing things out, and they end up getting the defuse now. Mafty about to shut down Last Second on the first half unless someone can get a miracle plant, but no, they are all too busy trying to deal with the members of Mafty, and that's going to be Mafty taking game number one.
I actually could not believe how quickly that defuse happened. It was like, okay, there's going to be a fight here, and there's going to be either a defuse or a team wipe, and then that's going to be the bomb, right? But they just kind of pushed in, and then team Last Second backed up, and then it was like, okay, and it just gets diffused in the back line, which is, again, a great strength of positioning. They knew that they couldn't all sit in that A choke point. There were going to be some big AoE G maneuvers that could potentially hit them all, and they're like, well, I mean, there was the Ashmar punch right coming up to stop that exact thing, but the fact that they backed up to stay safe meant that there was space enough that the shield from the Sazabi could defend the disarm, and there was just no way to stop it. So I'm not sure exactly what the move was there, maybe trying to defend from the ramps. However, just great stuff as usual. We've seen Mafty retake, or I should say disarm planted mega charges more than almost any other team, I think.
Yeah, they are one of the best at it because they understand the assignment, right? They know once you get the initial pick, find a few more and then cover all your angles. Make sure that you cover all your corners, check all your corners before you go for that mega charge. And it is deceptively fast how fast that disarm actually goes down. I can't quite remember the timing, but it's like 6 seconds or so around there. And so as long as you have enough HP to cover it, you can go ahead and just go for it naked if you need to.
Yeah, it feels instantaneous if it's the other team disarming, and when it's you, it feels like it takes like 30 seconds sitting there out in the open alone as you get shot at. But no, it is true. It can be really fast, especially with now that these teams are really good at knowing how to body block effectively. But, you know, back in the day, we saw a lot of people try to body block people that were disarming or planting, and they would not quite get the entire like body behind them. But people have gotten so used to it at this point, they know what works, they know what doesn't work. And so we get to see a lot of great stuff like that. But that does mean that Mafty is working towards a three-peat here, 3 tournaments in a row. There's still going to be a few more chances in this 3 out of 5 grand finals set. So we're going to have to see if Last Second can take advantage of those. We're going to go to a short break here as we get ready for the next map, but we're going to be moving on right after this.
wanna cry.
And we're back with game number 2 of Grand Finals, where we will be going to thermal plants, a very different level and mission type than we saw in the last game, but one that I think I was going to say we could see some roster shifts and some comp shifts.
Yeah, so roster shifts coming out from either side. Nox will be coming in for Mafty and in place of Arrow, and then we have Gasman, of course, coming in for that Barbados, and that's kind of what we were expecting when we saw this map pick coming out from Last Second.
I'm super pumped that we're at the point in the like competitive part of the scene where it's not just teams that are trying to throw stuff together, where they actually have players that are good at particular suits, for particular levels, for particular game types, and they're switching in and out. I love to see it. But yeah, we've got the Exia, one that we used to see all the time, but now a suit that we see just some of the time. Nox, of course, still using it quite a bit.
Yeah, and I feel like that might just be to offer a little bit more CC to try and deal with Gasman. But first, you got to get through Casino, who has been an incredibly aggressive Dom, and he has been basically throughout his career. But I feel like in this tournament itself, he has been even more so.
I agree. I mean, it's like almost every time is more and more impressive with Casino. Still one of my favorite players to watch. Always. Oh, gets the slam, and that is. Oh wait, didn't get the slam. Enders goes down, and then Carl Sagan manages to pick up Mr. Big Large at the same time. This is of course a huge ball. It looks like there's a few more up and ready for the side of Mafty here, just as far as getting that sort of central point positioning. And yeah, look at this. Carl Sagan on the Zaku 2 range is just hunting down the entire other team.
Yeah, it's Casino focus, Carl Sagan all coming in, just clutch up for their squad, but the two-man of Carl Sagan and Nox were able to clean things up, and so the point is now still in favor of Mafty. They've already got 28%. For last second though, things are looking great. Gasman, we'll see if he can get inside once again to try and find the pick. Invictus pushing up, but there it is. Mr. Big Large gets the knock onto Nox.
Oh yeah, just a mid-dash attack. That is great to see. Once again, though, nobody can really lock down Carl Sagan. Casino's gonna back up a little bit. Oh, this is such a great Dom spot. You can just shoot down these ramps and do so much AoE damage as they have to move over to B. That was very calculated. Only about 5% on the side of last second, so they really weren't able to get anything going. And it looks like this entire top positioning is already taken by Mafty.
Yeah, last second, they just need to go for the full regroup. They lost out on their tank, and so they just need to make sure they don't lose out on anyone. They need to wrestle this points away, and that's a huge way to start it all off with a pick onto Carl Sagan, but it's traded back. Exponent going down. Last second here are on the high ground, pushing forward as the point unlocks. We've got Casino going in with that Screaming Nimbus, only picking up one, but he creates the space for his squad. Focus finds one more, and now Casino got a little bit lost in the sauce there, but even in that 2-for-1 exchange, or in that 2v1, he ends up getting a clutch, and there's Carl Sagan to clean it up.
That is honestly one of the greatest strengths of this team. We get so much AoE damage from Casino, we get so much AoE damage from Focus, and then we have Carl Sagan and Nox just playing these flankers on the side in one of the best flanking maps in the game that are just closing out the damage after these suits are going down to about half HP. And we can see that happening right there. Mr. Big Large getting melted by that Zaku 2 range damage, some of the highest DPS in the game.
Carl Sagan is kind of playing this one like it's pubs, you know? This is kind of the Zaku 2 range play. No, you would see in pubs where you're just afforded so much space in the back. And now you can see Mafty completely pushing out towards their spawn. Enders is on the front line. Remember, he's not on the Hyperion. He is on the Pale Rider. We don't typically see this kind of aggression coming out from the Pale. And now as the next point unlocks, it's going to be C this time around. And Mafty have 5 G maneuvers in tow, but last second are coming up on 5 themselves.
Oh, Carl Sagan used the G maneuver there to stun, I think, quite a few people. It looked like there was a pretty strong follow-up from the rest of the team, and that is going to be a lot of them going down. Invictus as well, getting staggered just a little bit. They're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that spawn. But they need to fight here, right? They need to fight here or it will be the end. They don't have that much time, only 82% or 85% now on board. There's only about 15 seconds left for them to actually get this push. And this huge forward hold from Mafty with 5 G maneuvers, like you said, no, 4 G maneuvers is huge. Oh, the Lancer going in, only getting 1 pick. That is going to down Nox. That's going to cancel out his G maneuver. That's a good chance, but I don't know if anybody's on point to extend this.
Yeah, the Evada system is used as well as Enders is able to push up extra time, taking away. Someone does get on there. He gets stunned up. It's Gasman cooking for his squad, but now he has to deal with the Screaming Nimbus. Never mind, it's Blue Jay coming in. Okay, he keeps it alive for last second, but this is all extra time. If Mafty get on here, if Nox gets on here, finds the kill onto Blue Jay, things are all going downhill. Mafty on the verge of taking the first round here.
Oh, there just needs to be somebody staying on point. And the problem here is that we can't play that kind of like going in and out of the points from last second because they can't get off the point or they're just going to immediately lose, basically. We do see Gasman here at full HP. This is going to be really the suit that needs to take the most damage. You know, it's got a lot of HP. It's got to soak up some of that damage as the rest of the team gets down there, but so many are going down for last second. It wasn't enough. And Mafty is going to take the first round of game number 2.
But it wasn't a 100-0. They got a good, 30 some odd % for last second there. So Mafty are not infallible. They still have to be careful about the consistent threat that Gasman has been on that Barbados. In the initial fight that started off that round, he was able to just rush on in with that Barbados, find the initial pick, and then back away. But it still came down to the tenacity of Mafty and how they kind of like to play in their pods that they were able to really succeed in those like kind of 3v3 groups that they end up throwing around.
That is really a unique Mafty strategy. Like they are exactly like you said, they're playing in pods. They're so good at knowing specifically how to split up into like 2 or like maybe even like 2 groups and then 1 person who's flanking, and exactly how to play as that group of suits, and then being able to actually like fight up in numbers. Like if they have 3 people, they'll be able to beat 4 people, or maybe even like just take out some people in a 5-man group while the other team is doing something else, whether it's like split pushing, getting in a better position, taking a point, getting some sort of objective. And that is just really a Mafty specialty in my eyes.
And here we go, round number 2. I'm trying to see if there's any kind of swap-offs, but no, it looks like very similar compositions coming up from either side, so no one's really going to try and change things up. It's going to be B once again, starting all the things. It's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange, though. Fusion Blackie for Casino. Blue Jay ends up going down. Carl Sagan finds that one, so the fight going in the favor of Mafty. The point will unlock in 5 more seconds.
Carl Sagan is putting in so much work on this map. And the funny thing, too, is that Mafty even could have Arrow on Zakutu ranged as well. They've got 2 strong Zakutu ranged players. But the buff that we got in the last patch that was just a few days ago means it can play so much more risky. And that's what we're seeing Carl Sagan do. Like you said, it's playing it almost like it's a pub, but it's because you get that extra bar of boost meter when you use your invincibility with the smoke grenade. And we can see the level of escape that you can get on this suit right now is, honestly, this is a weird fight happening at A as the point on B is open.
Yeah. Enders, though, ends up finding one. Never mind. It's focus. Yeah, that's the reason why he is one of our candidates for MVP. So make sure you get on Twitter, make those votes counts in the poll. But it looks like for Team Mafty, they should be able to secure all 46% here on B. We're going to be swapping on over to C. Carl Sagan is all the way on the other side of the map, trying to get some early control for his team.
Oh yeah, this was using this mobility so well. Carl Sagan feels like he's everywhere in this map for some reason. I mean, hey, it's Zakutu Melee, it's Carl Sagan, it makes sense, but it's just like no matter where you go, what point you're at, you could be completely on the other side of the map and suddenly Carl Sagan is there and melting you with lots of Zakutu ranged headshots. But here we go, C opening in about 20 seconds, and this has been the Gasman point. This has been when he's the most effective so far. However, they've been really good at shutting him down, so we'll see if he can get his picks and come out alive.
Exponent does have to be careful here. He's kind of on his own, and you really don't want to do that as the Sazabi, but he's starting to push forward as now focused in the sky with the help of Carl Sagan. Ends up taking out Gasman and Exponent now. Mafty, they have a huge lead here as they pick off one more member of last second. The point has a lock. They're at 50%. Now about to take the 2-0 lead unless last second have something to say about it, but no, it's been all Mafty.
100% Mafty, more so than the last round even, and I do like this choice to run away, but it does seem like X-Men is staying a little bit far forward when the rest of the team is starting to regroup. Luckily hasn't been taken down quite yet, and is building a good amount of G maneuver for whatever this next push is, but again, on the side of Mafty, there are 3 big G maneuvers that can completely shut down a push, and we might see one soon, but no, Casino pretty low, just get out of there.
Did you say, okay, you have to remember that Dom only has the 1 dash. Even though he went for the half dash there, he still half dashed into a team of 3. That's how aggressive Casino has been playing all tournament long. And sometimes he gets punished for it, but when he gets rewarded, it's absolutely huge now. Mafty with 91.5%. They just need a little bit more there. They'll take the 2-0 lead. It's going to be back to point B, and they have so many tools to close out this map.
This can be a tough one to retake if, as kind of like a final point, if the entirety of Team Last Second can get to the high ground here and win this first fight and just kind of take positioning, this can be pretty good. But here we go. Casino using very preemptively this G maneuver, but that is going to be almost an entire team wipe to guarantee that they are going to get this point first. Mr. Big Large, the only one left alive, trying to be as slippery as possible, but you can only be so slippery against Team Mafty, and that is going to be a take. There's going to be maybe a few people trickling in, but I don't know if they can hold long enough to be able to retake this point. This looks like it could be 100-0. They get on point.
It's the Hades that gets absolutely shut down by Mafty, hiding behind Fusion Black, the only one up, but he will ultimately fall. Mafty take a 2-0 here, and now extend their lead to 2 maps up against Last Second in this best of 5.
I mean, there have been moments that have looked really good, right? The last take on C in round number 1. There were not many fights in that last round that really went their way, but I think that there's a chance here. There's still a chance here. They just need to unlock that one, like coordinated push that they have just not quite been able to get, which is tough, right? We know that Mafty is one of the strongest defensive teams, maybe the strongest defensive team that we have ever seen, partially because they are so good at getting maximum effect from all of their G maneuvers. Like, for example, right there, they were so ready to push, they'd get that last push, and all it took was one Casino Screaming Nimbus, who, man, note, gets it all the time because he does infinite damage every game, but all it took was one Screaming Nimbus, and it shut down the entire push. There were G maneuvers that were available to be used that didn't even need to be used because they had already made such good effect of that one G maneuver, and there was nothing on the side of Last Second. So if they can coordinate, maybe just take more deaths, take more losses, but get those big pushes, it might be enough. Obviously super difficult because Mafty's ridiculous.
It is really weird, right? Because Last Second, they do want to play it in a coordinated style, but the thing is, they are succeeding a lot off of the back of Gasman being able to find some of these picks. And so in that chaos, that's where they are able to find some success. Unfortunately for them, though, Mafty are ready to deal with both styles when it's coordinated and when it comes down to just being an all-out scrap because of that kind of pod system that they work off, their partner system, buddy system, right? And they always have someone backing each other up in those fights. It's never just like a 1v1. Whenever you come at a member of Mafty, someone else is going to show up to help deal with that.
Yeah, the funniest moment in that last game was when Gasman saw a pick, jumped up, and then realized, oh, there's focus right above me, and I've already jumped, and I can't move, and I am just going to die. Like, just straight up looking out there like, I have no aerial momentum changers, I am donezo. And that was exactly what happened, just that perfect angle from focus. But there's one chance left for Team Last Second to make this reverse sweep. They're going to have to fight hard for it. They've got at least 3 maps that they need to take here, but it's going to have to all be in a row. We're going to get to map number 3 when we come back from this short break as we get this set up. So don't go anywhere. This could be the final game or the start of the best comeback ever.
Your goal is to capture
A last chance for last second here in the grand finals as we are going to map number 3 with a 2-0 lead on the side of Mafty. We're going to be slowing things down quite a bit. We, of course, were just on a very close domination map, but this is going to be one of the widest open maps. We're going to probably see, we'll guaranteed see some comp switches. I want to see if we're going to see any players switched out. It looks like we are.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make sure everyone gets their reps in, and so a lot of swaps coming in. To Zim is going to be back in for last second, and so yeah, Barbados, not quite the map not quite the unit you want for this map. He doesn't really have the same angles of approaches that he would, like we saw on Thermal. This is so wide open. There are so many clear skies that the approach is really telegraphed, and so teams are ready for it. But for the last second here on the defense, they are not going to be running a counter sniper. Carl Sagan, though, we got to see it on in the first game of this set on Underground Command Center, and he is going to bring it out once more.
One of the things I'm most excited to see here as this first initial push is happening is Ender's back on the Hyperion. Ender's one of the best Hyperion players that we've seen. We've seen a few really strong ones over the course of this tournament, but Ender's is just so good at getting as much damage as possible while still being essentially like a half tank, half support.
Yeah, and we talk about, you know, a lot of times it feels like we put a lot less resources into the DPS, but this one is a composition that can kind of flex, right? You can get aggressive, but you can also fall back and peel for a unit like the Gym Sniper, like Carl Sagan, who has been, well, a unit in and of himself. That's a 1-for-1 exchange, though, but it's still going to go the way of Mafty on this offense. They're already about to get their first tick as they clean up to Zim. Still need to finish things off, and there they go. Cleaning up the last 2 members of last second. They will secure point A, but we know how aggressive Mafty get here before the reinforcements get in.
all troops.
Because you know, using the laser across the bridge. It's so smart. You just have to be a good shot with it. And of course, Casino is one of the best shots with that laser that we've ever seen. But you know, actually our point of view right here is Devotion. I wanted to talk about Devotion. Really one of the MVPs, especially in that last push. Being able to get a lot of kills while keeping people barely alive in all the key moments. And I feel like we don't talk about them enough. But oh my gosh, 2 huge picks here on the side of last second. But as I said, Devotion gets another repair on Carl Sagan, who then gets a kill, just like I was saying.
And this choke point now getting broken to Zim is up top, but he doesn't have that same kind of lethality. He doesn't have a team around him to really support him, and he's just looking for a window to try and run away. Mafty, though, are closing that's around him. As you can see, a pincer attack from either side, and now it's Mr. Big Large that's isolated by himself. They're going to try and create space on the last second side as Exponent pushes up, but he is once again on his own, and he has to be careful.
Oh, Zim and Casino are both really low, but there's just that little group right there. If there's enough AoE damage, that little group of Mafty players will just melt. But Casino's going to be the first one to get a pick on Blue Jay, as Focus is trying to find a good spot maybe for a flame grenade. Oh, here's the flight over. This is huge. This is the big push. Casino using the G maneuver. Screaming Nib is coming out. Going to get a few hits in, only confirming 1 kill, but it's going to display so much of the team that it should allow Mafty to get on point, and they will just barely, but nobody's staying on.
Yeah, they want to clear things out first. They want to make sure that they have the high ground. There it is. Focus will steal it away from them. He can get back up there whenever he wants. The Ashmar punch to make sure he gets rid of Invictus. Now there's only 2 members to try and defend here. Mafty, though, still not on the point. And so despite getting a lot of picks, they have to go for the reset.
Yeah, it seemed like they did so well in that fight, but I think that the key here for defending is to be so split up. I know it sounds weird, but if you're really split up as the defenders here, it's really hard to hit you from every angle. And so it's really easy for just like a lot of angles to be held on the actual site. And sometimes you get your respawns before they can actually hunt down every single person on your team. This is, though, not the choke point still. This is still a great positioning for Mafty. They can absolutely get a team wipe here with CZM, though. Using the Hades is going to get a lot of damage in, however, hasn't confirmed a kill yet. There's one.
Oh my goodness, the trades though. You have to realize that in this fight, Mafty did not use any G maneuvers. That was the Hades, the funnels, and the energy cable coming out from last second just to try and push them back to choke. That does bleed out time though. Mafty are now down to 2 minutes and 15 seconds here, the second half of Harbor City.
I'm really excited to potentially see Enders use this Lancer G maneuver. It might not come soon, you know, the team is in a weird positioning right here, and yeah, I mean, Enders going down, but at some point, this can actually just knock an entire team off of the map into the ocean, which is still what I've been waiting to see constantly. It actually is a great defensive hold here from last second. They have pushed Team Mafty all the way back to that super important choke point when Mafty had already pushed past it in their initial push and held the forward position. So this is back to a really tough spot for Mafty.
And importantly, they get them there in time. Fusion Blackie has that butterfly, and he's instantly going to go ahead and pop it, though. He gets shot out of the sky. Carl Sagan will be able to clear him out and find one more. But the damage has been done. Mafty cannot push off of this as we get Blue Jay getting res back on up. Focus going down as well. And so the threat was there, and it was enough from Fusion Blackie to stop Mafty in their tracks. Now there's down to basically one final push, but we know never count out Mafty.
There are two potentially big G maneuvers here, but Ender's going down. That's huge. They really needed to use that to get this point. And look at how much damage is on the side of Mafty. They are all just melting. Prof, the only one healthy. Casino does get a health pack, but he's just so far back. He's going to be able to get the repair on Carl Sagan. That is a complete shutdown. Oh, wait a minute. What just happened? So many people died in the background. I didn't even know there were enough people up on the side of Mafty to get that, but this is going to be a start of a great push.
Yeah, there were some repairs that came in for Mafty, and that's why it's so clutch. But Casino already, and once again, into the front, into the back with that Screaming Nimbus. He has 3 players basically backed up here. He just needs the rest of his squad to win out on their duels. Casino comes back to help him out, but Tazim will clean them up. And there's a repair onto Blue Jay. Mafty might not be able to finish off this round. There's only 19 seconds to go. They've lost half their team. They're sent back to spawn. There's only 15 seconds remaining, Wonder.
Focus can get on point, but how long can Focus stay on point? That's the only suit that maybe is even close enough with 5 seconds left. Oh, but it goes down. This might not be anybody to extend to overtime.
Man, Tazim comes in with that Hades. Mafty, unfortunately, we're not able to finish things off there. And I think this is the first time we have not seen them finish out a map.
Not only did they not finish on a map, they didn't even get a tick on the second point here. This is, I would say, yeah, for sure the biggest, I don't know, the biggest wall that they've hit, I guess is the best way to put it. It is not going to be easy. Well, that's sick. Look at that shot. Look at the waves. This is nice. I'm about it. Going right under the pier. But yeah, this is tough.
Making waves has been a lot of our Ashimar players that I really do want to highlight what Mr. Big Large did there. We saw at one point where Mafty were able to push out past that choke point, right? Where we see all the fighting that normally takes place. But Mr. Big Large was consistently a threat on that Ashimar playing inside that center platform, that covered platform. And you saw that Mafty were really hesitant to try and push past him because we know how big the Ashimars are when they come in and are able to throw down that flame on a death ball. So even though like he's not getting all the kills in the world, the consistent threat of Mr. Big Large has been slowing down Mafty quite a bit.
It has. Mr. Big Large, of course, been consistently one of our best Ashimars from event number 1 even, I think, or maybe event number 2, but that was a long time ago and I'm old, so I forget. I just want to point out how strong Carl Sagan was in that last game. We saw his damage equal up to Casino and Focus, and Jim Sniper can be one of those suits kind of like Barbados where you don't get maximum damage, you just get kills. However, Carl Sagan is getting so many hits and kills that the damage is equal up to the AoE damage suits, and Carl Sagan has gotten a ton of remote repairs, just one of the strongest players, as expected, as we're used to.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a counter sniper really to deal with. I mean, the closest one is going to be Fusion Blackie on that turn A, but there's a huge difference in DPS at that point, or at least the lethality of the unit here. As I speak of it, he even finishes him off. He does have to be careful, though. He does take that damage, and that's what we're talking about. The burst damage that is there for Fusion Blackie can put a stop to Carl Sagan, but you can see they're putting a lot of resources into him right now, buying that space for him to try and find those picks.
And the nice thing is, oh, okay, actually, hold on. Here's a really big push. That shield came out at the perfect time, actually completely blocked the flame grenade. And that is going to be basically an entire team wipe. That is the entire team wipe. Just saying, no, not even a res. You know, you held us at point B. We're going to try to hold you at point A. That shield from Enders was gigantic. That was everything, just completely blocking the flame grenade from hitting their own defensive death ball.
3 minutes remaining.
beautiful reposition as well coming out from Carl Sagan, right? He was expecting the dive coming out from last second to come basically at this angle where he's standing now. Instead, he was basically sitting on the other side off to the left here. And so they didn't have to worry about peeling for him when they went in for that dive because, well, they just needed to handle their duels, handle their fights. And now Carl Sagan is just showing why he is an extreme threat across so many multiple units, whether it's on the Gym Sniper or even if it's on the Zaku 2 range, the RX-78 basically his entire pool. There's another pick onto the Zim. And take a look at how dominant he's been. Last second have been able to get nothing going. The closest person to their first G maneuver is Mr. Big Large at 60% essentially after 2 minutes of play.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, this is almost a nice attempt to push up, but we know that there's just too many healthy members of Mafty. Anders is going to go down finally, but there's no way they're going to be able to take advantage of this. This is going to be another maybe 30 seconds off the clock as they're going to sit here and have to regroup. And one of the biggest problems, I think, so far is they haven't been able to shut down Carl Sagan. There is no counter sniper. You mentioned the Fusion Blackie can get some nice damage onto Carl Sagan, which is true, but you can't actually get the kill, so Devotion is going to be there to heal back up immediately, and they're going to start their defense again. However, they are really backing up here. This is a very far retreat from the side of Mafty. They're just letting them walk up now.
I think Mafty are just trying to bait them in for these G maneuver defenses, right? They've got the Screaming Nimbus, they've got the Ashmar Punch. It goes a little wide, but it does end up hitting the target of Tazim in the back. Screaming Nimbus just to follow up and clean things out, and Casino will go ahead and knock them all down. That's what it was, just bait back. We talk about Mafty time and again, are so good at bending, but not breaking.
That was one of the juiciest Screaming Nimbuses I think we've ever seen, and now there is only 1 minute left. This is tournament point here for Mafty. They did take the first point on offense, so if we can't see the first point taken from last second, they will lose with only 50 seconds left. They need to make this be their final push. They only have 1 G maneuver. They might get funnels back up from Exponent, but this is so tough.
Yeah. We saw Mafty getting held on point B, and they took that personal, and they're deciding to go for a full hold here. We do have G maneuvers getting popped though. Profi has his funnels out, but he just needs to stay alive as Exponent ends up going down. Victus will finally clean him up, but this is just the beginning. They still have to take this point. Now we'll see if Mafty can give them time to try and completely shut them out. At the very least, last second starting to make progress here, cleaning up one more, but they lose out on focus. They need to go ahead and clean things up.
This is for sure going to be a take, and still living true to their name, Last Second is going to take this in the last second, technically in overtime, going to at least get point A. So that means that they now have the opportunity to win. They don't have a lot of time, but they can push forward. If they get even a single tick on point B, they will take their first game of the set.
Lancer versus basically the other Lancer for Invictus. You got the Butterfly coming up as well, and there it is, instantly being popped, but Enders gets cleared out. Last second are able to back up just in time. They need to heal up though before they still go for these peaks. We know that the Ashmar can dish out so much damage, and Focus is off on his own on the left side just to cover that. And it's going to be Carl Sagan coming in, getting that clutch up kill onto Big Large, slowing things down despite the numbers disadvantage. Mafty are going to hold on to this choke.
Focus just landed an actual 6-man flame grenade, and that built so much G maneuver meter, and it's so much damage that was disgusting. And that's actually really put Last Second into a tough spot. They just don't have that group healing of like a unicorn to be able to heal all that back up. Oh, but here we go, the butterfly from Fusion Blackie. Will it be countered? Just shot out of the air before any mileage gets Devotion, but that is it.
That's an easy shutdown for them. Carl Sagan hits the body, and you got Casino with that laser at the end to finish things off. Now we've seen how good teams are at responding to the unicorn, to the butterfly, but it seems like here you typically get a little bit more value, but man, the response time coming up from Mafty is just absolutely clean. Now, Last Second with 40 seconds remaining. Need to go ahead and push up. Now, of course, if they don't get any progress, that means we will be going to a tiebreaker though.
Oh, but this is looking really good. They've got 2 G maneuvers. They just need to take a little bit more. Blue Jay managing to get a few picks here with that G maneuver, and only one going down on the side of Last Second. This looks like this should be it. They just need to get this player off, and that is going to be the first game on the board for Last Second.
Oh, wow. Last Second are able to finish it off. They're going to send us to a map 4. And they actually make Mafty bleed. What an incredible prospect. Wow.
That is, I mean, it's so perfect that it's, again, at the last second, they took point A, at the last second, they took point B at the last second. They are staying too true to their name for comfort, right? It's like, I'm telling you, they need to change their name to First Push. And if they change the name to First Push, they will just win every single game on the first push. No worries at all. But they have played extremely well so far. And finally, I'm glad to see that it's really paying off, right? That was a great coordinated push. And what we usually see from Mafty is that they have all the G maneuvers ready, but they were out of G maneuvers in that final moment. And we had the Screaming Nimbus and the Hades, which is, of course, a disgusting combo that was able to just clean up so much of that final fight and put last second on the board. And as much of a Mafty fan as I am, because I honestly love every single player on Mafty, I'm really happy that we're seeing a team take it to them like this for basically the first time.
And ultimately, you know, I'm a Gundam Evo fan, so I want to see more competitive Gundam Evolution. I don't want it to just be 3-0s, 2-0 closeouts. I want to see as much as possible because, you know, these events don't come as often, even though this year alone we've already had 3.
I know. It's a little bit more often now, but regardless, we don't get, especially matches like this very often. You know, we don't get to see this highest caliber of level of play. And so I'm glad that we get to see more. But of course, that does mean we are going to a map number 4, which is for sure the first time in the entire tournament that we're going to see that. We're going to go to a short break, though, of course, to get it set up. And we're going to see if the start of the last second reverse sweep will continue right after this.
Can you feel that? feel that?
Last second, finally taking a game here against Team Mafty for the very first time, and now they're going to be going back to Flak Fort, which was a map that we saw very interesting game on in their first set in winners finals. It does appear that we have a little bit of a roster switch going on. I'm excited to see what that exactly is going to be. That is why we had a little bit of an extended break, but we now are in a spot where the chance for last second to make a huge reverse sweep, a huge upset is here. The way that they played on that final map was so incredibly clutch. I think that the momentum is just, at least the mental momentum is in their favor.
Yeah, but it was scary. Like you said, living up to their name time and again, especially here in the grand finals. You couldn't ask for more, but there were so many players that ended up clutching for them. And it was a lot of individual players. But right now, as we take a look at Mafty, I mean, we saw them, I believe, earlier playing kind of a little bit more aggressive on the start here on the defense, playing off on the bridge. Don't know if that's going to continue there for them. Oh, wait, never mind. That's last second. I'm sorry, getting a little bit confused here. But no surprises here. Gasman is going to come in for that Barbados.
Yeah, this is such a good point in particular for Barbados, especially on this 8 points. But then B, those walls can be jumped over extremely well as well. No challenge, like you mentioned, on the bridge. We saw a little bit of that, but the push looks like it's going to, as usual, be around this left side. Focus really poking their head out, but not getting hit that much. Fusion Blackie on the other side is kind of starting to melt.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. He does have his nano skin popping and he picks up a health pack there, but he was just trying to get a nice little cheeky 4-man, 5-man. Ooh, the nice dodge out as Focus ends up finding the first pick. That's Blue Jay going down. Last second's defense is crumbling here as Exponent will get chased down by Carl Sagan on this turn A. One tick has already been secured for Mafty. Again, it's all about just cleaning out the angles and making sure that they do their due diligence.
Like you mentioned, they really don't aggressively try to take the point. They fight, and then point's like a secondary condition almost. You can see they've got this great positioning, though, that's allowing them to at least have somebody sitting down on the point, as last second is really forced into the back of the building. Not a good space at all to fight from. We are going to see Focus go down, but I think this might be a spot where you almost have to give up this point and not get staggered. We know that if Mafty takes this right now, gets a team wipe, they are going to be on B in seconds.
As it looks like it is still getting contested at the moments, and so Mafty are having difficulty clearing out that last member that is on point, but ultimately they should. But here it is, the Ashmar punch from Mr. Big Large. He doesn't have the follow-up though, and we'll have member surviving. Exponent finally follows up, taking out Carl Sagan at the very least, but the space created is still burning away time for Mafty, who are now down to 2 minutes. Ultimately, they will be able to secure it. Doesn't seem like there's any forward spawns though, and so last second, don't really have to worry about bleeding out members there. Now Mafty are charging forward.
The big thing here is, can Mafty get past the Zeke choke point? They know that not everybody on their team is going to be there, but there's certainly enough to at least stop them if they get too reckless, and it seems like their choice is going to be push around the right side instead. They're getting quite a bit of damage, especially Exponent is going down quite a bit, but that's a choke point that can be really tough, especially when you have somebody like Fusion Blackie getting all that extra collateral damage on the fully charged turn A shots.
Yeah, the fully charged turn A shots, getting the collateral damage is absolutely huge. I mean, the AoE that's coming out from these compositions with the Ashmar turn A combo is so strong. Now, Fusion Blackie, he's going to be the first one with the G maneuver on his squad for the defense for the last second here. So the butterfly might be what they need to clear things out. Casino going in with that screaming Nimbus, creates space for Arrow in the back, but Fusion Blackie answers back, finding one with that butterfly before he goes down. 100 HP, he somehow survives, and that is what last second needed for the defense. Casino is still somehow alive back here before he finally falls, but you can see why he is such a huge threat.
I know, just unkillable sometimes and just does so much damage, but that was great to see a knowledge of kind of the airspace after using that butterfly G maneuver. That was an interesting choice to be like, go around the mountain, and it worked perfectly. 100 HP is, that means that you played that basically as best as you could.
Now Carl Sagan has the butterfly himself. He will not opt to pop it here because, well, Gasman doesn't give him the choice, taking him out. It's going to be a turn A for turn A, and that does mean Mafty have to go for the reset. Time ticking away, last second doing a great job of delaying things, bringing this down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining for them. The evaded system active, or able to be activated by Gasman for this defense.
I think that there's a chance. Oh, we're gonna see the energy cable along with the funnels popped on the side of Mafty, but I think there's a chance that we're gonna see the Gasman G maneuver to try to counter this if he can even get in position. No, nobody's gonna be able to stop Carl Sagan. He's gonna get a lot of damage here. Gasman is still available with that G maneuver and using it on point to get as much damage as possible, but it doesn't get any kills. Finally gets a follow-up on Casino, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to hold off the entire team of Mafty.
Yeah, Arrow does have the Hades system activated right now, but he's not able to get through the chunky bodies quite yet. Fusion Blackie somehow staying alive for last second, and they hold on for dear life. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining now. Mafty utilized so many G maneuvers, the butterfly, the Hades, along with the funnels. Now they're just going down to the screaming Nimbus and the punch of focus.
Yeah, we really need to see Casino build this G maneuver meter quickly, right? They can't spend that much more time. It's about to be up. Okay, yeah, those few shots that were landed were exactly what were necessary. This needs to be the screaming Nimbus of all time, basically. It needs to be perfect. It needs to get just enough of these members, but they're kind of split up on the side of LS. This is going to be basically a solo G maneuver here on Exponent that will get the down. They're going to have to pick that and push with it. Focus still has the punch, but no G maneuvers on the other side and 2 players down.
Yeah, they were able to take out Mr. Big Large, who has been such a huge contributor when it comes to the overall DPS. And now take a look at the high ground control that's coming out from Mafty. The drop down from Focus off the top ropes. He hits the elbow, takes him out, will ultimately fall. But Fusion Blackie is here now with the butterfly. Cleans up 1, cleans up 2. And that is going to be enough for the defense. 27 seconds remaining, and Mafty are sent packing. They only secured 38% overall, as last second are cleaning up stragglers here in the end.
Yeah, Carl Sagan still in kind of a sneaky little spot, then gets picked up, literally thrown off the point. I don't know if anybody's going to be even close enough or close enough. It would have to be Focus, but getting burned down so quickly, that looks like that is going to be, honestly, a pretty strong hold here from last second. I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but that is a really good amount of defense, especially considering the last time they played on this map. Just to remind everybody, okay, so if we start with last second, getting 3, pushing through A immediately, pushing through B immediately, getting 3 ticks, and then nothing more for the next like 5 minutes. Mafty, on the other hand, just pushed through immediately, not quite as fast, but they took the entire point. So now we've seen the opposite, where Mafty is pushed through and then not being able to get more than 1 point. Already LS is doing so much better than they were.
Yeah, the difference is I believe Mafty got close to 40%, right? For the last second, you know how close it was? I believe it was around 96, 95. Extremely close for them. And so this is looking a little bit scary at last second or now, putting the proposition up. Map number 5, I would love to see it. We were saying at the beginning of the tournament, there are basically two teams that were really looking to challenge Mafty. Last second is one of them, and they're really living up for that.
We have never had a map number 5 in the history of any of these Gundam Evolution events, you know, here for the any of the Gundam Evolution New Type League events at the very minimum. This would be incredible. I mean, I really want to see it. Again, completely unbiased. I absolutely love every player on Mafty, but I just think the hype would be ridiculous. Carl Sagan here on the turn A once again. I don't think any of these teams are really switching up all that much. We're just going to see people stick to their guns and try to just play better in the individual situations.
Yeah, I wonder what like the Gundam Evolution equivalent of like Silver Scrapes would be. Like which Gundam theme would be like the map 5 song that we go to. But you know what? We'll have to put that thought to a later date, as now it's going to be last second on the offense here, pushing right across the bridge.
And once again, we are, oh my gosh, that's so much damage on last second. I actually feel like they need to just back up and just let themselves kind of auto heal. All right, they are going to get enough of a heal, but that's so much G maneuver built on the side of Mafty. Each of them is at about 10 to 20%, and the side of last second has almost none, except for Fusion Blackie, who has actually kind of a ridiculously high amount.
Oh no, Gasman tries to go in, but they were just a little bit uncoordinated on this push, as the bulk of the army did not push out in time for him. He was trying to create that space, but they've already secured one tick. A second about to come in. No, someone actually gets off the points in the last second. So unfortunately, they will only get the one tick here. It was the first fight though, and we got to see last second on their defense. They did delay Mafty quite a bit. But the troubling part is that Mafty are doing such a great job, like you said, building up that G maneuver. Gasman in on his own once again, and there is the peel for Mafty.
Oh, but the fact that they have to turn around and deal with Gasman, another tick and almost a third tick have been taken. I mean, even if they just, okay, there's the third tick. This is going to work. Even if they just get wiped, the fact that they are making people turn around, deal with Gasman, and then they just slowly take the point themselves, it's working. It's a slow push, but it's working, and they've got time. All they need to do is get past that first tick. Whoa, what a shot.
Oh man, they almost got the repair there, but regardless, they were gonna have to go for that reset last second now with 2 minutes and 20 seconds. But yeah, rinse and repeat, send Gasman in, make him the sacrificial cow or the sacrificial Barbados, and then just get that last tick, because it happened so quickly. Once you have the 3 members on the point, you can see he is lurking to go for it once again.
No! Oh no, Gasman a little bit too close to death there, 62 HP. And going in with such little life, oh yeah, that's definitely not going to work out. Once again, though, they just have to deal with this, right? They have to turn around. It doesn't seem like there was as much of a concentrated push from the side of last second this time around. They might just be standing back outside. Doesn't seem like the combat's really popping off. Waiting for Gasman to come back. He should get back pretty quickly. This is, I think, one of their biggest chances here. There's only maybe 2 more big pushes with this amount of time.
Mr. Big Large does have a punch ready, and now he is going for that flank. They should have heard him. Casino gets the first knock, though. There is the punch onto multiple members of Mafty, but no one's in position to try and punish it because Casino is there with the screaming Nimbus to try and shut it down. Gasman, though, can he make miracles happen? As Blue Jay backs away, Casino will go down. He had that HP pack, but will they be able to get the res? No, he gets finished off, and now it looks like last second have the opportunity to come in, finish things off. The point is still getting contested right now. Devotion has fallen, and they cannot go for the repair quite yet. Hades system activated, though, but he gets shut down. Blue Jay will come in. Carl Sagan with the butterfly, but this is not the point you want to try and use the butterfly from. Not from the inside at the very least. And it is last second once again getting it. Carl Sagan now getting staggered on the retreat.
That's huge. They used Hades, they used Butterfly, they used Screaming Nimbus, everything, and it wasn't able to stop the push. They do have some G maneuvers available. They got the funnels and the energy cable, which are both being used right now, but they're using it so quickly. If this doesn't result in a team wipe, this is going to be a huge resource advantage on the side of last second to try and push in. This could be the moment. They only need, again, like 1.5 ticks. They just need to stay alive here. They're doing it quite well. The entire G maneuver basically wasted without a kill. 2 G maneuvers on the side of Mafty.
That was beautiful. They hear the G maneuvers popped and they just back away. They don't need to fight us with it. They don't need to give away extra G maneuver ults basically towards last seconds because so many of them are close. You can see that we do have the punch for focus, but on the other side for last second for the offense, they're going to have Gasman close. They're going to have the Screaming Nimbus, the punch, and of course that Gundam Turn A Butterfly ready to go. Invictus is close to the Lancer as well, and they are setting up for this push.
Oh, I think we're about to see it. Here it is. This is going to decide so much. Fusion Blackie not getting focused out, getting 1 kill on Casino, doing a lot of damage, getting Profi down. This is a huge advantage. Only 2 members up for Mafty. This last second can hold on here. Just keep the trickle of Mafty players out. We could go to a game 5. They've got 1 tick. Nobody's on point. And we're going to go to our first ever game number 5 here in Grand Finals.
Wow, we are actually getting a game number 5. That is absolutely crazy. We were wondering at the beginning of the tournament, can anyone even make Mafty bleed? Well, that's 2 maps in a row now for last second. This is where we pop just communication. Let's go. It's map number 5.
Oh, I know this. I mean, we were originally asking, can Mafty bleed? But now the question is, can Mafty not get reverse swept? Because these have been really, really good games so far from last second. They found whatever it is that they needed to find. They won 2 literal last second points to make the comeback on the Harbor City attack. And then from that, they were like, hold on a minute, we can do this. And then it's just been momentum. With now, potentially not only the first game 5, but we are potentially at the first reverse sweep if they can keep going. Mafty, for the first time, are almost want to say like they're not down in a set, but for the first time, they actually have to think like, hold on, we're on the back foot in a set. We are not at an advantage here. We need to think. We need to figure out what's actually going on, what they're doing that's beating us. Because at this point, they are currently like basically losing the fights overall. And a lot of it is going to come down to what our next map is. I actually forget what it is because this has been so intense, but Mountain R&D, what an even intense map to be our 5th map, our decider that has been the decider a lot of this time around. I'm so excited.
And the thing is, it is 2-2, but the problem is it's last second now riding the momentum. This reverse sweep, there's something indescribable about that energy when you're on that team that's riding that reverse sweep energy. There's something that completely changes the battlefield. So even though it is an even scoreline, it is all right now last second.
Oh, well, this is your last chance here to, use the restroom to get a snack, to get a drink. With all this excitement, I certainly need a drink. But we are going to go to our game 5, our first game 5 ever in Gundam Evolution New Type League tournament's history. And it might be the first time that Mafty actually goes down, or the first time that they're going to make a comeback and see how they play on the back foot. Regardless, game 5, the deciding game of Grand Finals, will start right after this short break. Just take your time, but be back here. You're not going to want to miss it.
Wanna cry.
History has already been made as we enter our 5th game of grand finals for the first time ever, but history will continue to be made. This will either be the first three-peat in the history of the Breakout Series or the first reverse sweep in a grand finals, plus the first person to ever defeat Mafty. One of those two things will come true, and it all comes down to, in my opinion, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think this is an excellent map for testing both of these teams, Mountain R&D.
And it's kind of crazy, the composition that we're seeing. It's not going to be anything mirrored anymore here. Mountain RD, typically, you know, we see a lot of the very similar compositions, but taking a look at what's being hovered right now, Mafty, Carl Sagan back on that turn A, which can definitely work out here on Mountain R&D. On the other side, for last second, Gasman is, of course, going to be on that Barbados, but as Victus now, he's going to be the tanky front line with the help of Exponent.
I'm surprised we're not seeing a turn A from Fusion Blackie. You know, that was such a key, I guess, piece of the puzzle for winning in that last game, and this is such a good turn A map, but we're not going to see it, so we'll just move on. The high ground being taken slightly by Mafty, but they are bleeding a good amount of damage. Gasman's dive did not quite go the way that he wanted to. I'm not sure who's going to get this first. It looks like LS is actually going to be taking the first point just for a moment.
Yeah, and so, I mean, they end up losing out on their Sazabi on the Mafty side, and so with the double tanky front line with the Victus there, with the extra shield, last second have a lot more staying power, so they ultimately win out because of HP, and it's the first time, I believe, when it comes to domination maps, where last second get the point first, but it's not for long unless they can delay this one out. Mafty are here cleaning things up. Tazim is still alive, getting some kills, getting some damage off, and you can see the retreat coming up from Mafty right now, trying to clear out the rest of the angles, but this point is going to go largely even between the two teams.
That was one of those odd times where actually, like, staggering your lives can actually work out very well, because all you need to do is extend the time that you have that, and dying there, you're still going to get to this point A in time. But it looks like point A, or I'm sorry, there's a retake with 5 seconds left. Point A is not going to open for a little bit with about a 30-15 lead for last second, but oh, what a melt right there. The combination of Carl, Sagan, and Devotion, who switched over to the Unicorn.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like that old Twitter thread where you would, like, put, you know, the choking hand next to, I think, like, Naruto or, like, Sasuke, right? That's what it looked like right there with the turn A Gundam onto the Barbados. Victus does have to be careful. They can go for the regroup for the point unlocks, but as he peeks the corner, Enders tags him, takes him out. Now things are looking a little bit dire. Tizim in the back line, though. He's got the Hades system activated right now. He needs to get the finish off. It was so close, but on the retreat, Focus takes him out, baits him into that angle, and it's Mafty now about to tie things up at 25% and ticking.
Focus is so good at shooting out of the air, like in all the weirdest situations, whether transformed or like falling down, just like always has a sight line on whoever is around. Oh, Victus poking in. Blue Jay getting picked, actually, not backing up quite in time. Gasman, though, gonna get a little bit of a pick, and that is going to be enough to at least kind of tie things up on this point here. Just a little bit of a brawl. It's so hard to win the 1v1 against the Hyperion when the shield is up, but the 3v1, very doable.
Yeah, no, we have to remember, it's not just about staggering here, but if you can dominate, that's even better. We'll see if they get all the percentage or if someone from last second sneaks in like they did there on that last point to get a little bit for their squad, because they're going to need every last ounce. Now as we go back on over to point C, it's looking like it's, you know, very similar to what we've had in the past. Funnel's gonna get popped from around the corner. They're charged forward now with the shields as well. Gasman finds one in the back line, taking out Focus. Devotion has to back away with the squad. He's got the Unicorn G maneuver down, and as they back away, they find one onto Exponent. They won't be able to clean things up cleanly, though, as Gasman gets into the back with the evaded system, and as the point unlocks, it's gonna be last second, taking point C once again.
Oh, this is so close. They're staying neck and neck. This isn't just the usual Mountain R&D thing of somebody taking the high ground and holding it the entire time. This is a back and forth on each point, not even just point to point. Carl Sagan, though, we do see has the butterfly G maneuver. This is going to be a huge part of potentially retaking this. Most people are off the point, but this has to be it. Now we are going to see the Lancer counter on the other side as the butterfly comes out. There's not going to be a hard counter, but regardless of it, there have been so many G maneuvers coming out on the side of Mafty that it's going to be nearly a full team wipe for last second.
Yeah, Gasman was forced off the point, unfortunately, and he wasn't able to stagger to get a little bit more percentage for them. Mafty will have the opportunity to get all 86.5%, but you can see Last Second are going to give that up for them. They're going to go for that early rotation onto point B and have that control, but it's not easy at all. The rotations have already come out from Mafty. We got the Screaming Nimbus as well into the back line. Enders ends up going down, but it's still a 1-for-1 exchange. There is the repair to get Invictus back in, as now we're waiting for point B to unlock.
Oh, Mr. Big Large holding an interesting angle, but here we go. The Screaming Nimbus is huge from Blue Jay. That's going to hit a lot of members, but he can't get the follow-up. That's really hard to actually get the shots outside. Regardless, that should at least push a lot of Mafty outside of the point. This is probably going to be an initial take from Last Second, but Mafty is very healthy. They have the Hades. They have the funnels available. The G maneuvers are kind of on their side. I mean, it's kind of even. Oh, and a great bait from Gasman on the grab.
And we still have the punch and the Hades, though, on the other side for Last Second. Both of them have been popped. All the G maneuvers going down, and Profi has been shut down. Funnels no longer active in this battle. Arrow, though, does end up getting a kill. Finds a second as he pushes forward. But Hades versus Hades. It's Tizim coming up in this Souls-like at this point now as they charge forward. The point almost got taken, but Last Second will maintain this. Will they be able to finish things off and take this first round?
This is huge. This is guaranteed the last point. Oh, the retake is happening. They are within like 5% of each other. There are a lot of both players available here. Gasman is going to get a pick on Arrow, and then using the G maneuver is going to take down Devotion. That's huge. That is absolutely huge. Focus going down as well. There's trades on the other side, but this is most of Mafty going down. This is going to guaranteed be a capture here for Last Second. They've got the positioning. This has to be a really quick advance on the side of Mafty to get this extra time. And is anybody on point? Somebody is. I don't know who's even available. If anybody can stay down there live long enough. Carl Sagan goes down, Arrow goes down, only Focus and Casino still up.
Yeah, Enders is going to try his best, but if anything, he needs to have a Screaming Nimbus. He's 60% away, and it's going to be Last Second striking first blood here on Mountain R&D.
This is the first time in history that Mafty has been down in a set. They are down 2 games and 1 round. This is the first time ever that has happened. Last Second holding on to that so barely. That was as close as it gets. Also, I just called Enders Casino because I didn't realize that Enders had switched over to the Dom. What a switch that is. But this is 1 round away from the reverse sweep actually happening, and so much of it is on Tizim. Look at that damage from a Pale Rider.
Yeah, and it's going back to the Pale Rider meta. We saw not as much of it initially, right? We had basically all of our Pale Rider players going on over to play the newest unit, the Hyperion Gundam, instead, but we're seeing why the dominance, especially when we had the split that we had, right? ACAC. Or, well, yeah, CAC B to finish things all off.
Yeah, B being the last point there, I felt was really beneficial for Last Second, especially the fact that Gasman can just run wild on B in particular, and that's what we saw. We saw Carl Sagan get picked, I think, a couple times even in that one particular site, just from Gasman being able to jump up to the second story levels. But here we go. We're starting on a much more wide open spot than we expect to see.
Yeah, it's going to be a Sazabi for Sazabi exchange, though, as Tizim finishes off Profi. That does mean that LS will have that high ground advantage. Arrow is trying to contest from the other side with his own Pale Rider right now, but he is getting challenged by Gasman in the back with that Barbados. And this is the chaos that LS need. He's been, sometimes he'll feed, but other times he feasts at this point. As point unlocks, it's going to be LS taking it once more.
Oh, what a great start for the final round that they need. You know, you said feast or famine. That play right there was a little bit of a famine one. Just not quite in the range to get that kill on the Sazabi. And that means there's going to be a nice counter push available from Mafty. They're all on the other side. You love to see it. This is a great angle to push from. We don't see it all the time, but it has been really effective. Tizim getting very low. Invictus going down. Exponent going down. This should be a retake for Mafty. There's about 25 seconds left. If they can hold it for the entire time, we're going to be just about tied up again.
Yeah, this is a completely dry fight from either side. There were no G maneuvers available, and unfortunately for Last Second, they just didn't have any bodies on the point. I feel like they could have delayed that one out a little bit further. They do end up getting 26%, but will be changing on over. They'll still have the advantage, though. going into point B. But like you said, this
Target
is where
changed to
the
objective
Barbados
B.
gets to run amok. This is a Barbados' playground.
Yeah, this is, it's just a nightmare to try to peek, and you suddenly just see this giant mobile suit with a giant mace just jumping at you, and you're like, oh no, I am dead. Oh, the punch, that's actually hitting so many players, but there was no true follow-up. Mr. Big Large hit maybe 3 or 4 players. Oh, but the Hades coming in from Tizim and then gets shut down. That's really unfortunate, but this is just trade for trade so far.
And again, in the chaos, that's where LS gets to succeed as they try to go for that res, and he does end up getting it off in the last moment, but there's the re-knock as the Evada system comes out. Point has unlocked, and that's going to be Last Second taking it once more.
Great timing on using that at the very last second, not giving the opportunity for the respawns. And when this match is this close, you know that every little percent counts. That's how close it is. It was 92 to 91 in the previous round. Oh, that shield is going to shut down so much. Arrow has to back up, has the Hades available, but needs to get the life back first.
Yeah, Devotion goes down, so he's no longer providing the shields for his team. They're waiting on the respawn now. Focus does take out Blue Jay, but he gives his life for that effort. That just means it's now dominance for LS. 20% remaining on this point, and it looks like Mafty are just going to give it up and now start maintaining control over this high ground.
I like this. I like this choice. They are kind of playing at the pace, I think, that Last Second wants. Oh, but Gasman jumping up, just saying, oh, no, forget it. I'm leaving. See ya. But I love the fact that they're like, okay, just let him have it. Let's just move over. Let's slow down this pace. We need to get together. We need to win our group fights that we're just so good at. And that's what's going to potentially happen here. X-Men is pushing up on the other side, but this is a full 6-man on the high ground here on A.
You see a little clipping of Gasman there with the mace. He's just a little bit short on that jump. But you can see how quickly Mafty are ready to respond, trying to back all the way off that hill, give it up to not lose anyone, but they end up losing out on Profi on that retreat. Arrow has to be careful as he backs away. He gets up, taken down now, and it's all Last Second. This is what we're talking about. Even though the scoreline was 2-2, the momentum, it's all Last Second.
And okay, we need to look at the resources for this next fight, because this next fight is everything. We've got 3 G maneuvers. We've got the Lancer, the Screaming Nimbus, and the Punch on the side of Last Second. But on the other side, we have almost every G maneuver, everything but Punch available. And that is going to have to be what takes it to basically a final push. Carl Sagan using the Butterfly is going to get at least 1 pick and shut down the ability to use that Lancer. Going to get another pick, and not even going down, staying at 66 HP is huge. This is exactly what they needed, but that was a G maneuver used, and Last Second didn't use any of theirs. They held on to them. That might be a genius play.
Last Second did hold on to all of their G maneuvers, but so did Mafty, only utilizing that Unicorn for that push. So they'll have the Screaming Nimbus, they'll have the Hades, unless Ender's ends up going down. He has to be careful, and the funnels along with that Unicorn G maneuver as well. We're swapping on over to C, and you can see Mafty already trying to set up for it, but they end up losing out Devotion. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. Hades has been popped by arrows as Mafty tries to jump to the back line. Gasman is successful, but he gets his life for the effort. Carl Sagan able to take him down. Now, this is still a very dangerous proposition here as Last Second are setting up on the points. They are going to go ahead and give up that high ground on the right-hand side. We do have a few members coming forward. Devotion has popped his Unicorn G maneuver. Hasn't gotten anything quite yet, but Exponent has fallen. And now here it is, the Punch, the Screaming Nimbus, everything coming in for Last Second.
Oh, we got 3 kills in a row with different G maneuvers. That's going to be a full team wipe. Can anybody get on point? Is the reverse sweep going to happen? Devotion going down. Nobody's left, and the reverse sweep is completed as Last Second takes the tournament, takes the set, takes the round.
What an absolute, I don't even want to call it an upset, because Last Second were so damn good, and there were so many different players from the squad that ended up popping off in this series. And remember, it had to start off with that reverse sweep, that first win in map number 3 for them.
Just actually unbelievable. And for it to start off with actually the double literal Last Second comebacks into this just unbelievable amount of momentum is you couldn't write a better story, right? There have been some jokes in the chat that this is all scripted. I think they might be right. I think that maybe I'm just not in on the overall arc, I don't even story, the lore. I don't even know the lore, but that is just, I cannot believe it. Our first game 5, our first reverse sweep, the first time that Mafty goes down. Of course, they're still just an incredibly good team. I don't want to make it seem like I'm rooting against them. I'm just so happy that we're at a point now where we've got all of these amazing players on different teams and anybody can win. It's just exactly what I want to see, aside from the fact that the game is in such a good place that we've seen every single mobile suit in this tournament. I'm just like too happy.
You're going to count the Maru for 10 seconds.
Yes, the 10-second Maru counts. Okay, it hit damage.
I'll be honest. I kind of counted everyone out at the beginning of the tournament. I thought this is Mafty's three-peat. And at the beginning of the day, they made it look like it was going to be so. It was a 2-0 sweep in the winners bracket finals, sending Last Second down to the lower bracket to face off against Tekka Dynasty. They still had to deal with Tekka Dynasty, and Last Second, it was not an easy job for them. But coming into this grand finals, the first 2 maps getting taken by Mafty, it looked so scary. It looked like they were on the verge of getting that 3-peat, but Last Second had the final words.
Another first that we have for the series here is this is the first time I think that somebody has won this. I could be wrong on this one, that has won the run back for who in the match that they lost earlier in the bracket. There we go. That's the best way to put it. They won their winners bracket rematch, and that's, I think, the first time, and it happened to happen in a grand finals. That is a gigantic thing to happen. I mean, just amazingly played from both teams. That is easily the closest set we've ever had. There's no question about it. I don't even know if we can get almost even closer than that, except for maybe a game or round 3 to end it at the end. So, just amazing stuff. Huge congratulations. And that is going to be our champion. We can move on, at least for a moment. Of course, you all voted to see who your MVP was. I'm curious to see who it's actually going to be, because there are just so many players that could be. The Lanfest MVP is Mr. Big Large on Last Second. Very well deserved. One of the key members of that team making that huge comeback.
And the thing is, yes, Mr. Big Large did amazing things, but across the board for Last Second, so many members had different opportunities to shine and keep their team alive throughout the entirety of this tournament. In the lower bracket, in that match, in the lower bracket finals as well, up against Tekka Dynasty, you have to say Fusion Blackie came out clutch with that Turn A Gundam as well. It's so hard when it comes down to these MVP votes, because so many players did an amazing job.
Yeah, and okay, this is also super unfair, because not only do these best teams that we have, for example, like Mafty and Last Second both showed it great. Not only do they have 6 members that are constantly showing that they could be MVP, but they've got 3 or 4 other players in that they're switching out in between that can also be MVP. Between the top 2 teams, there's 15, 16, 17 people that could all be MVP. It's just completely unfair. I mean, I love seeing both of these teams, all these teams that we're playing. And of course, we also have our staff coveted God Gundam Award, and that is going to decide who the production staff behind think is the MVP, and it is going to be Gasman. What a story, accidentally getting their cat to knock over Dr. Pepper onto the computer on day number 1, and then making it back in time for day number 2, making the first huge comeback and winning the tournament. I think this is Gasman's first tournament win for one of these two as well. I could be wrong on that, but I think well deserved from Gasman.
And let's be real, Gasman threw a dub on the Barbie, using the Barbados there, using the Barbie. He was cooking all tournament long. Now, you have to remember, sometimes when you're cooking, you got a slow roast. And there were moments where he looked like he was struggling. But once they were able to play around him and the kind of space that he provided with that Barbados, the team was able to succeed.
Yeah, splitting them up, especially on that flak fort push, it was just incredible. But let's take a look now at the final standings and how all of the map picks went down. You can see that Last Second really putting himself on the board with that 70 points towards the Pilot Academy. Mafty still undoubtedly in first place, as they've won 2 tournaments and now taken a second place. And Tekka Dynasty continuing to be just right outside of that range of potentially winning a grand finals. I think that's coming for them very soon. And all the rest of the teams played extremely well. We can see overall throughout the day, the maps, though, have favored kind of one map kind of heavily.
Yeah, Mountain R and D. No surprises that we had to finish it there as well. And it's so surprising because sometimes, when you look at Mountain R and D, it just feels like, it's all just AC. But this event, we actually got a fair representation of the entirety of the map.
I know it is weird. We have literally gone like entire final sets without seeing B, and B was really kind of the most important point. So I'm glad to see that. I think I said it before. I think that was such a perfect map to see that end on. Right? It is such in its own weird way, it's a very fair map. It's just these sites, these mid-range sites. It's not like there's going to be a whole lot of like secret, sneaky things going on. It's just about who can win these concentrated team fights on each of these points better. And it was so close, down to the wire, every single round there. So I'm glad that we are seeing so much Mountain R and D. But wow, this has just been an incredible event. Like, this is probably my favorite of any of the tournaments that we've had so far, and there have been some really good ones.
And I love when it came down to it, like we got to see like why it's so cool to have the run back and have the rematch. Yep. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Exactly, like you can see right here. I mean, look at that, Mafty 2-0 over last second in winners finals, and then they brought it back again. I mean, hey, Mafty won 2-0 in winners finals and then was up 2-0 in grand finals, but it just all came down to that game number 3 and then 4 and then 5. That was a legendary moment so far in the Breakout Series. Again, I'm just so glad that the competition level is so high. I really, again, don't want to make it sound like I'm cheering against Mafty. If I'm being 100% honest, they're probably my personal favorite team. I just love seeing the competition. I love seeing high-level Gundam Evolution, and I think that this is going to overall push the scene even higher, right? Mafty now is going to have stuff they can go back and look at, and they probably didn't have as much of that in the previous tournaments where they were just able to run over the entire competition. So honestly, they've got their spot almost guaranteed, I feel, in the the finals at the end. So I feel like this might be even a beneficial thing for them. I'm really glad to see them. I'm really glad to see Tekka Dynasty doing well. So Taurus was really turning up this time around. Both the Portland teams, everybody's skill issue. Just read out the rest of them. The allies, it's even off the bracket.
Yeah, and man, what a wonderful way to do it. We had the new unit being introduced this week, and we got to see the immediate swap off for a lot of players. We weren't really expecting, I guess, a lot of our Pale Riders players to pick it up, and that's why we didn't see a lot of the Pale early on. But I'm so glad we got to go back to old faithful in Pale, Tazim popping off with that Hades as well. It was so good to see.
I think Hyperion is one of the best additions that we've ever had. It was so important in a lot of maps, or in a lot of, just games in general, but also it wasn't a key, like, you need to pick this 100%. It also allowed some of these players that are really good at these like hit scan machine gun type units to switch around their roles, and it adds this flexibility. We saw it from Enders, we saw it from Dark and Fester, we see it from, just like a lot of our Pale Rider players, pretty much most of our Pale Rider players. And so I just think one of the best additions that we've had to the game as far as a new unit. It's perfectly balanced on that perfect level as far as we can see so far. And like I said, the balance is great. We saw every single unit. We saw every player do well. It's just perfect time for Gundam Evolution. I feel like if any of you out there have not played the game yet, this is the exact perfect time to get into it. You can play whatever suit you want and you can do well.
You can play whatever suit you want. I don't know quite yet. Again, our sample size of Mahiru's success rate is still off of 10 seconds here.
Okay.
And then also, I think New Gundam, right? We only got to see for maybe about a minute throughout the weekend, so I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, we saw a little bit less New Gundam. It's true. Okay, but there, we, for example, like the Japanese teams use a lot of New Gundam. I know when they're doing their tournaments, and Mahiru's good on some maps. Really good on some maps. I feel like if we ever go to Canyon Base or maybe not Canyon Base, but like there's a few maps that we don't even have in the map pool that I think are cool maps that Mahiru particularly shines on. So it is what it is. But regardless, I'm just gushing at this point. I mean, this has been an incredible tournament. I don't need to, I think, hold this on here very much longer. Do you got anything else that you want to say before we close out?
No, I'm just extremely elated with how this entire weekend went. There was just so much really to consider when it comes to the competitive meta, and I'm really glad that we get to be here to explore it all with you guys and to see the kind of growth of the overall competitive scene of Gundam Evolution. So I'm really thankful, of course, to all the fans out there and to all the players that made this happen, because if it weren't for you guys, there'd be nothing to broadcast. So thank you all so much for being able to put on such an amazing show.
Oh, I couldn't have said it any even close to as well as you just did, basically. That is the perfect way to close it out. So once again, thank you from all of us here at the Gundam Evolution New Type League. Congratulations to our champions, Last Second. They have now made history without a doubt, and I cannot wait for the next event. Just so that everybody knows, we are going to be a few weeks without a Gundam Evolution New Type League event. I believe it's called the Weasel Cup. We'll be taking over some of the events here in the Pilot Academy. Be sure to look at the, I believe there's a Start GG page that has all the information for the Pilot Academy. You're going to want to sign up for that. You know, got to support all the tournaments in the scene. We're super happy that other people are running tournaments, but that's where we're definitely going to be seeing everybody next. And then we'll be back, I believe, in March for the next Gundam Evolution New Type League event. So we'll see you all then. Keep signing up for tournaments, keep playing the game, keep streaming the game. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.